About 15 vehicles that had been packed near the building were destroyed. Residents living near the building vacated their houses for fear that their buildings would also collapse.
Kuna watu wamepata ajali. Kuna mtu mmoja alikuwa anasamia ndani, lakini anajua hii ghorofa ilikuwa paki mbili, iko chini nyingine, iko chini nyingine. Huyu mtu alikuwa ameangushwa, ameenda paki chini. Ile ghorofa imeshaanguka, huyu mtu yuko paki ya chini, lakini hajaumia, hata sasa iko sawa. Tumetoka nyumba imeporomoka, kuchekea pande huko nikatoroka, ndio nikaanguka, mimi nikatoroka.
2 days to Mashujaa's Day celebrations in Kirinyaga County. Political differences is being experienced between PS Interior Karanja Kibisho and Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. Kibisho has lashed out at Waiguru for claiming that senior officials in his docket have been allocated a few seats ahead of the celebrations. Despite saying that they have been cooperating with Waiguru in the preparation for the celebrations, the governor has been raising allegations aimed at tarnishing his reputation. Now, at least 26 people have been killed in floods in southern India after heavy rains caused rivers to overflow, cutting off towns and villages. 5 children are among the dead. There are fears that the death toll could rise further as many people are missing. Several houses were washed away and people became trapped in the district of Kottayam in Kerala Estate. Days of heavy rainfall in Kerala have caused deadly landslides, and the Indian military has joined rescue efforts. To sports, and Chelsea goalkeeper Edward Mendy played a decisive role in the 1-0 West London derby win over newcomers Brentford. That is according to manager Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea kept their grip on the league's top spot thanks to a bench-load strike, but they owed their 3 points as much to goalkeeper Mendy, who pulled off a string of saves to deny Brentford an equalizer. Mendy denied Salman Ghoddos in the 83rd minute as he rushed off in line to close down the angle, and the Frenchman turned over an acrobatic overhead effort by Christian Lugard in injury time. Now, we continue to ask you to continue observing COVID-19 protocols. Go out there and get yourself vaccinated against the virus so that together we may win this fight against COVID-19. This is Newswire. Dennis Azeto.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
The following takes place between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m.
Have you seen them? Am I live?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say. Good
Thank
job.
you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Everyone was asking me what channel is SpiceFM.
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you.
What a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, what does it look like on our roads this morning? It looks like it's already building up on Mombasa Road today. And why is this? It's because of the diversions that have taken place over the weekend. What does it look like? It looks like it's going to be absolutely crazy this morning. If you're coming from the city centre and you're headed towards General Motors, there's a diversion that will now be outgoing traffic on what used to be ingoing traffic. So we just have to prepare for that. And I'm taking a breath because it looks like it's going to be a mad day on the roads today. All right, looking at Thika Superhighway. Some traffic coming in this morning. It's already building up very slowly, but it will not be too crazy, at least not for now. We'll take a look at what it looks like. Other parts of the city just waking up, but not too bad. If you left early, you should be all right. I know you will have a surprise when you get on Mombasa Road this morning, but take it all in stride, folks, all in stride. It's Monday. Let's see what the day has in store. Let us know what it looks like in your neck of the woods. SpiceFMKE on Twitter, text on 40127. Let's keep things moving this Monday morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room. Witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
It's 8 minutes after 6. A very good morning to you. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. Hoping that you had a good weekend wherever you're tuned in this morning. Ndu Okoh, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. You had a lovely weekend? Was it restful? Was it good?
It seems to have flown by me.
Eh?
I'm actually trying to remember.
What happened? What do you remember last?
Nothing.
Friday? Thursday?
What do I remember last? I can't help you, man. There was something. Wait. No. Okay. It's gone again.
There was that this year? Probably last year.
No, I think it's these diversions on Mombasa Road. Huh? They can interfere with the circuitry system of any human being. One moment there's a road, the next day there's no road, the day after that there's now even less road. And then you have to go as though you're going back into town before you turn back to go where you're going. It's
You have no clue where you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or what day it is.
Yes.
It was a breeze, man. I can't. Sheesh. Why do I feel like 2 days of my existence have actually been lost?
Okay.
Never to be reclaimed again.
Take your time, recollect yourself. City,
Yes.
how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you remember Saturday?
Saturday. This past Saturday.
Yes.
Not alone.
The day, yes. I remember the day.
Do you remember what you did on Saturday?
Yes.
Ah, good. Do you remember Sunday?
Yes.
Good. Now help me.
That was yesterday.
Yes.
It's easier to remember than Saturday.
It's easier to remember.
Do you remember what I did? Yes. By the way, for me it's very easy to remember because I have a very simple routine that I very rarely divert from.
That's it.
She has just remembered.
Please go ahead. Before you forget again.
I spoke to my mom. I called my mom. I spoke to my mother. I think that was the highlight of my weekend. Yeah.
Did you pass greetings from her cousin?
Of course. Chukwuemeka can never be left out. If City was in Nigeria, it would be Chukwuemeka.
Yeah. Chukwuemeka.
The mother's cousin.
The mother's cousin. Okay. You guys should FaceTime.
You should actually. It's this new thing she's learned, eh? So it would be fun. I think you should.
FaceTiming?
City. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. A lot has happened over the weekend, and we will be reflecting on all what's happened over the weekend in the country and outside the country. But let's begin with what's happening all over the world with regards to COVID-19.
All right, let's look at these numbers. 241 million is where the world is right now. Of course, those numbers, after having, lulled for some time and then picked up here and there, but everybody's still talking right now where we are with vaccines and trying to get as many people vaccinated as possible. So the numbers that we're looking at now, 241 million, I beg your pardon, 471,559. The world has reported 4,914,092 deaths and recoveries of 218,700,016. So that's what the world is looking at right now. There's a story here that is carried on looking at delivering vaccines in different parts of the world whereby the infrastructure just doesn't exist. South Sudan is what was given as an example. Saying, you know what, trying to get as many people vaccinated, but the infrastructure how do we get to the places where they need them when, roads, for example, are in a poor state and it's more expensive than actually procuring the vaccines. It's more expensive to get them to the people than procuring the vaccines. Just an example of one country.
Who's giving this example?
This is interesting because it's reported by the BBC.
And they're saying
delivering vaccines around South Sudan is more expensive than the cost of the jab itself. Right. It's one of the countries with the lowest rate of vaccination against COVID-19 in the world, with just 0.8 of the population having had one dose and 0.3 having had both jabs. There's a stark inequality in vaccine distribution. Some developed nations are administering a third booster shot and vaccinating children as well, whereby the adult population in some countries is under 1%. According to an immunization specialist at UNICEF, he said, for example, if we can even if we can secure the vaccine, it's over 10 times more expensive in South Sudan compared with neighboring countries, which have a very reliable road network. Few roads are paved. Most of the country remains largely inaccessible by land. And so when you look at things like then a proper vaccine rollout, then there's a problem. This is a story that is reported by Ann Soy in Juba. Okay, so can I quickly look at what's happening in the country?
Can I just mention this by the way, since we're talking about these delightful numbers? There's some 2 countries of Oceania who have vaccinated close to 99% of their population.
And the population is how many thousand people?
1,005. The one is 18,000 people.
Okay.
Yes. If you can vaccinate 18,000 people and you're at 99%, Cook Islands also has that pleasure of claiming those high numbers. All I'm saying is, it's not as though the population grew overnight or reduced. It's the same population they've had. There are countries with almost similar populations, but they haven't gotten to where these guys have gotten to.
Right.
So even as we talk about our numbers, and as we approach the 20th, there's an understanding that had we started this campaign a lot earlier, the numbers would have been more attainable. Please carry on with what you wanted to say.
Right. So looking at the 20th, which is now just 2 days away, right? Wednesday is the 20th of October. We are now at 4.5 million, 4,500,179 people who've been vaccinated in the country so far, right? So it's
who have
about
at least received a single shot.
At least. So we're looking at totally vaccinated 1.2 million, one shot 3.2 million, total vaccinations in the country 4.5 million, right? We're hoping to get to 5.8 million by Wednesday, but folks, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. 1.3 million doses need to have been administered at least between today and Wednesday. And save for an act of God, it doesn't look like that is going to happen. Okay?
So how many do you say have received one shot?
One shot, 3.2 million people. Just shy of 3.3 million.
Who have received a single shot?
Yes. No, as in have received the first dose.
Only?
Yes.
Okay.
Those who are fully vaccinated are 1.2 million.
Okay.
Voila.
Okay. Now, wait, before Johnson & Johnson came in, we were already at 1 million.
Of what?
People who've been vaccinated.
Fully?
Who have received a shot.
Who received one shot. Before Johnson & Johnson came in, you could only count people who'd received one shot.
And then we finished that, the AstraZeneca, 1 million doses or so that's 500. So that one, the fully vaccinated include the Johnson & Johnson people?
Yes.
No one is actually demarcating the vaccines.
But we don't know that they're finished. We don't know. You see this number they give us of there are 7.5 million vaccines in the country. It is cumulative.
That's total number.
To all. Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, whatever. Compiled everything.
Pfizer.
Sputnik iko.
Sputnik haijarudi. Tangu ile last time ionekane.
Ilipokuja ikaenda. Haijarudi.
I think we have the Chinese one.
Sino. Yes.
Okay.
A few here and there.
17 after 6, let's take this break, and we are already live streaming the show on SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Are you online? Say hello. We'll be saying hello to you shortly. We'll be hearing the Kalenjin proverb of the day, right, City?
We will.
Let's see whether campaign promises have been met. It's 17 after 6. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
From 2019, she has stayed with 6 different people. We are saving money. There's no need for him to be renting in this side.
And I'm renting this side.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes this is an avenue for women to con men. Let me just be very honest with you people. Today we are talking about performing marriage duties while you're still dating. Why are you paying rent and this is not your wife? We need to start holding each other accountable for those people who are dating. Learn to buy your own bed.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution is rotten. It is based on ideals that cannot progress.
The weather with SpiceFM.
All right, so we're looking at cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning. And the rest of my system I decided it's not going to work today. All right, cloudy conditions in Nairobi. We're probably going to go to highs of 24 and lows of 16. All right, let's go to Eldoret, where it's also cloudy as well. We're likely to see highs of 21 and lows of 17. And excuse me, Nakuru at 12 degrees, currently going to highs of 16 and highs of 21 and lows of 16. In Eldoret, 15 degrees and clear conditions, highs of 25 and lows of 14. Mombasa this morning, light rain in some parts at 24, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Malindi this morning is going to be mostly sunny, clear conditions currently at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 25. In Kisumu, mostly clear conditions at 20, highs of 29 and lows of 19. And in Kakamega, it is mostly clear at 16, highs of 28 and lows of 15. All right, let's look out into Kampala, where it's mostly clear at 19, highs of 27. In Dar es Salaam, mostly sunny conditions for the morning at 23, highs of 30 and lows of 22. In Lagos this morning, rain at 24, highs of 31, and Johannesburg is cloudy at 9, highs of 22, back down to lows of 9. Kinshasa is partly cloudy at 24, highs of 32 and lows of 23. Out east into Beijing, temperatures dropping significantly now at 12 degrees, sunny conditions however, highs of 17 and lows of 4. In Paris, 5 degrees, clear at and going to highs of 18, back down to lows of 5. It's 10 degrees in London, it's clear at 10, highs of 17 and lows of 10, while in New York, clear conditions at 13 Sunday night, going into highs of 18 and lows of 10.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
Who's online?
Okay, Farista Muganda says good morning. He's in Ebubere, Mumias, and he says he's in. This is Sir Haron, and he says, good morning, Spice. Good morning, good people. Kisumu is locked. Kapsoit to Kondani, that's what Langat says. Ben Apudo is tuning from Ugunja this week, where you guys were just a couple of weeks ago, you know. City, are you okay?
I'm very well, thank you. Okay. I am trying.
You're practicing. You're warming up.
I'm warming up for
the race.
Okay. Odero Jr. is listening from where? The Great Wall of Kino.
Right.
Okay, somebody says, wa la 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 la.
No manner.
He says, I finally found you. I hope. I've been trying to tune in for months. It's been months trying to say hi. I can never seem to find this page. Solo, good morning, he says.
Welcome, Solo.
Fantastic. Macadero Mike says, good morning. I'm here after being unwell for some time. I hope you're feeling better, brother. Jerry Rawlings says, good morning. Lovely friends tuned in from Eldoret. Isaiah Omwanda is tuned in from Kendu Bay. Hey! And Kogi says, good morning. Abute says, hello as well. Charity is tuned in from Nakuru. And Timothy Igamba Pasha is tuned in as well. Grand Mula says, okay, I don't know if I want to read that proverb, but he says, good morning, Eric Latiff and CT. And Evans Okalo says, good morning as well.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for tuning in this lovely Monday morning. CT, on your marks, get set, go.
Right. Kaliyan tan negilichi kiptome tirim.
Kabisa. Kaliyan chan
negilichi kiptome tirim. Tirin. Yes.
All right.
The troublesome the cow that compels the owner to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures.
What?
Troublesome is the cow.
Oh, voilà.
Troublesome is the cow that compels the owner.
Yes, to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures.
So the pastures are the tirin.
I have really no idea. I am told there's an ancestry that we refer to as nilotic, but there is absolutely nothing here. I am a nilot. There is absolutely nothing here that actually, maybe if I give it time, it might sink.
So this is from?
This is a Kalenjin proverb.
All right. Nandi, Kipsigis.
This is a Kalenjin proverb.
Marakwet.
This is a Kalenjin proverb.
Okay.
In the course of the week, I'll get more specific and tell you this one is from this particular area.
Okay.
The only word here that perhaps rings a really remote bell with another nilotic term that I know of, this one, tirin, tibim. That's as close as it gets.
That's it.
You know, the problem is that when somebody is listening to you, they're just following like a string. They can actually think that the thing at the end of this statement is of great import.
But what I've said is not.
Only to find no.
Thank you for the proverb,
Thank
City.
you very much, City.
Let's look at the newspaper headlines. Get the Standard e-paper. Do you have access to the Standard e-paper at an unbeatable price of 20 shillings daily? You get access to the paper and all the premium content on standardmedia.co.ke. You get free Sudoku. You get crossword puzzles. 10 days free access to the Standard archives. All these in the Standard e-paper. Okay, so what's in the headlines? Ndu?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at this investigation into Tirop's murder.
Yes.
And we're being told in the Nation today, and for me, I mean, it's a big deal because, look, Kenya lost a star, right? Third man arrested over Tirop murder. KO North Sub-County Police Commander Tom McCurry has confirmed the arrest but declined to disclose the identity of the third suspect. So let's give you some details into this story. Right. I can be like CT. Sorry.
You're looking for the page.
The thing has voila. There we go. Okay. Detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations have arrested a third suspect as investigations into the killing of athlete Agnes Tirop intensify. Tirop's estranged lover, Ibrahim Rotich, and his friend, John Kipkoech Samoe, who drove the athlete from training camp to her house in Iten, where she was then later found dead last week, are also in custody. So now there are 3 people in custody. All right. Rotich, who was arrested at the coast, is expected to be arraigned this week. KO North Sub-County Police Commander Tom McCurry confirmed the arrest but declined to disclose the identity of the third suspect. There was an unidentified woman who was spotted at the slain athlete's home a day before her body was discovered. Detectives have had statements from multiple witnesses, including friends of the two, which have aided our investigation, he said. Positively identifying the woman won't be an issue. He was, however, non-committal on whether the third suspect was the woman. Now that more people, including the prime suspect, have been arrested, they will assist in exposing the images on the CCTV and facilitate conducive investigations. Although he declined to divulge the details of what the review of the footage had revealed. A police source said the third suspect was a man the athlete's lover had transferred some of her property to. Okay. Can I read that again?
Yes, please.
A police source said the third suspect was a man the athlete's lover, okay, he's also a man, had transferred some of her property to. Rotich had reportedly secretly transferred the property to himself. Detectives are reviewing the CCTV footage obtained from the athlete's house for more clues to her final moments. The detectives are analysing a raft of items we have in our possession, and we are making steady progress in the matter, according to Makori. He added that Rotich has since been transferred from Mombasa, where he was arrested. Makori said the suspect was detained in one of the police stations in the vicinity, ready to appear in court. Tirop's body was found in a pool of blood inside her house in Iten last Wednesday, with a stab wound to the neck. So,
I'm just hoping the police don't bungle this one.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I actually get the distinct impression that the bungling, what we refer to as the bungling of the police, if we can follow all the events and all the functions that we know fall squarely at the doorstep of our police service, and then we look at the chain of events that are required for such a situation, it might be easy to. But the problem is, anything that has to do with this crime is a multi-agency issue at some point. The police will do their bit, the DPP will come and do their bit, then God knows who else will do their bit, and lo and behold, should that man find themselves into the custodial services of our prisons, again, they will do their bit. Okay? So, with you, let us hope this thing isn't bungled. Let's hope.
Yeah, because the bottom line is that, there's somebody who's dead and there's a family that's grieving and there are people who want to know what happened.
Eric, it's beyond grieving. This is a major loss. You know, remember the story last week when we were told, when the father was saying, the young lady had actually just gone home to fees for the siblings.
Siblings, yes.
Look, this is a bread earner. This is someone on whom the family depends. So it's not just the death of the individual, it's the death of hope, it's the death of aspirations. It is the bringing to an end of so many things.
Yeah.
But it's clear from all of these that there was something going on here between partner and coach, who was her coach as well, a trainer as well. And, for him to then say, and as you're saying, it would be fantastic if they found out the reasons why, in terms of closure for her family, but then also, in terms of just coming to terms with what has actually happened. I really pray this is not another one that will be, rendered without an answer. I really, really hope so.
You know the thing that I also find disturbing, I remember when we started this program, we used to talk about violence. Once in a while, we'd mention a death. But death seems to be not just gaining momentum, it's become the norm.
It's the norm.
There's a disagreement, death. There's a disagreement, death.
It's like it just leads there.
Yes.
Meanwhile, still talking about athletes, there were two athletes who did very well over the weekend. One of them was Angela Tanui, who is the newly crowned Amsterdam Marathon champion. And she dedicated her win to Agnes Tirop. She says, I knew her very well. I ran thinking about her. I wanted to do well as one way of honoring the champion. That's what she said. It was a good thing. It was a good thing. Kenya's biggest conversation takes a break. It's 6:30. Let's see how the roads are looking like. Let's be informed how you will go to the airport if you're coming from town, and how you will get to town if you're coming from where? Kitengela, Mombasa, everywhere else. Tanzania. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
Hello.
Halo, umesikia?
Nimesikia nini?
Hujasikia habari? Hebu acha nikuambie. Kile kimetokea.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Don't wait for hearsay. Dial *550*1# to read the Standard e-paper from the convenience of your mobile phone for only 20 shillings from your telecom line, and stay up to date for a reliable source with over 100 years of experience with no additional data charges.
The opportunities are here. Project X, the biggest youth empowerment project in Africa for young creatives, is here. Are you a model, a fashion designer, or a performing artist? Then this is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Register now for the opportunity of a lifetime by following @Opportunities Are Here on Instagram and The Opportunities Are Here on Facebook for more information and the registration link. Online selections begin on the 12th of October and registration closes on the 22nd of October. The Opportunities Are Here is a project by the Ethical Fashion Initiative in partnership with the European Union. Project X is co-produced by KTN Home and Vibes Radio.
Thank you.
The political class, the contestants, everybody is trying to outsteal the other.
Remorse is not taught in any school. Manners is something you get from your mother. You don't get it from your political party.
Why are we so unfocused as a country? Why are we spending money and resources? Yet we have real challenges in this country.
This coronavirus pandemic should teach us one thing, that universal healthcare is critical. Because at this point, whether you have a medical card that covers you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Okay, so today, Mombasa Road, let me just break it down for you. If you are outbound on Mombasa Road, approaching General Motors this morning, you will then be diverted right, and then you will take the road that used to serve inbound traffic coming off the Greater Mombasa Road. Are we together? Now, if you are inbound to the city, you will be diverted at General Motors towards the ICD route and then come out at Libra House just after what was the stage. The footbridge does not exist anymore. You cannot use that if you are going to be walking later. So that whole General Motors stage doesn't exist anymore. So there's going to be a mess, which you can already see from Mombasa Road this morning, and it is jam-packed. Folks, we have 3 lanes now where there's no road, and so it's already looking pretty messy, and that's just Mombasa Road for now. Other parts of the city just waking up right now. Langata Road is already looking kind of crazy, and the industrial area is already packed. Remember, Enterprise Road will feed you some drama as you're trying to get onto what was the General Motors stage. It's already building up also on the Thika Superhighway, and we're looking at some traffic far back as Survey this morning. Coming off from Gong Road is also quite messy. Let's keep a look on this for a while. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's text on 40127.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Spice FM. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
It's 24
94 point.
Kenya's biggest conversation continues. We are looking at the headlines in the papers of what happened over the weekend. Okay. City, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at page 10 of The Nation. And the headline that has caught my attention is Poor Patients Hit Hard as KNH doubles consultation and other fees. KNH has a 5-year strategic plan that runs to 2023, the year after next, okay? And they are saying that out of this, 2.9 billion is earmarked for cancer and kidney disease units. However, in order for this to be functional, or in order for this to be realistic, they have determined that they are going to raise their fees from 650 to 1,150. Okay? Consultation fees.
Okay.
You go there, that is what you get. And they say one of the things that often hits the hospital is that simple lack of equipment, kits, products that are necessary for basic health care. And this will help alleviate it. Okay? However, the article further states that this is going to hurt very many people. That 650 for very many Kenyans was already a strain. If you now take it 1,150, essentially, you know what you've done? You've increased this thing by, say, some 500 shillings.
Okay.
500 shillings is a lot of money for most people.
Yeah.
Yes. However,
with the increase in the number of facilities around Nairobi by NMS, right? That takes away a lot of pressure from KNH and from Mama Lucy and from Bagathi.
It ought to.
Senor?
It ought to.
So that KNH now becomes the last point of referral.
Yes.
So you're going there basically at the very end of, the referral stage.
Yes.
You go to a health facility, you're maybe transferred, you're referred to Mama Lucy, you go to Mama Lucy, that's when, from there, if things are thick, that's when you're referred there.
There's something that perhaps Dr. Luga would be able to help us with in understanding. Yes, the health facilities were expanded, but are they also equipped to ensure that the healthcare seekers get the services that they require?
All the services.
Yes, because if they do, then most certainly the pressure that has been brought to bear by the other bigger facilities will be drastically reduced. But if the buildings were put up and everything else that it should have for it to function well isn't there, then nothing will have changed.
Yeah. It's a big one, this one, though, because 500 bob, like you say, yes, it's a lot for any health facility to just increase the consultation fee by 500 shillings. That's a lot. But also you look at it from the point of what does KNH need to do? You will go to KNH, you want to get services. They ought to be able to raise the money to actually offer the services that we're talking about.
Ideally, KNH shouldn't be a hospital you wake up to go to.
Yep.
It's a hospital you should be referred to. Okay? But what option do people have when the hospitals near you? Because they exist, by the way. If those ones near you have never experienced any expansion that meets the needs of the ever-rising population.
Yep.
I look at, say, for instance, Langata Health Center, okay? A very beautiful center. It worked very well. Then all those high-rises in the Kibera area came up. The population suddenly just shot up. Are you telling me that clinic, which should have been a hospital a long time ago, would be able to meet the needs of that increase in population? And the increase was seen. It's not as though the planning, all plannings for those things take place either in City Hall or what we now call City County Hall, isn't it? Now, surely they knew these things were coming up, but were steps taken to ensure that auxiliary and supporting services for that population are also in place?
Clearly not.
Yes.
Clearly not. It would also be actually nice to hear from Dr. Oluga as they build the new 17 new facilities. What are they doing with the existing ones? Like now that one.
Yes.
The Langata
or what have they done?
Sector. Yeah. What have they done with that one? So that we know that, this health facility, the existing ones have also just been revamped. So people around Langata can go to this Langata health facility. They'll get all the services that they require for going to that primary health facility. That is a big story to have. I mean, a big conversation that needs to take place. The KNH one, yes, it's also a big one.
Okay, so as much as sometimes there's a trend that's going on right now, and it seems as though promises are being pulled out of a hat, right?
Yes.
And being fed to the people. Now, on the Standard today, on page 8 of the Standard and then page 10 of the Standard, Ruto promises economic revolution come next year. The DP says no one can stop him from the race for State House and told his competitors to prepare for a tough battle next year. He claimed that unemployment was to blame for widespread crime and drug abuse across the country, and he has promised an economic revolution, in 2022, and exuded confidence that he will win the polls. He said for years, Kenyans have waited for change to come from the top, but they have remained poor tour, saying he would now bring the revolution that they deserved. Him.
From the bottom.
Right.
Okay.
Him.
The top has failed.
The bottom will bring the revolution.
Okay.
All right. And it's going to be an economic one. This is what is needed.
Yeah.
Just 2 pages over, Raila has pledged to help the families of the Mau Mau fighters to get land. Everybody is making promises here. He promised to help descendants of Mau Mau fighters to acquire land, speaking when he visited Mukami Kimathi, who is now 90 years old, the widow of the late freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi at Komorok Estate yesterday. He said he regretted the families of freedom fighters are landless. At the same time, he received blessings from Mama Mukami, promised to assist her acquire the house she currently rents. It is unfortunate that roles played by Mau Mau fighters have never been recognized by the political class in this country. They have told me there are a number of descendants who are still landless and have identified a piece of land in Laikipia County. They have raised 60 million for the land, but they have a deficit and need support to buy it. I will talk to the current government to support them get the land. If they can't do it, my government
will definitely do it.
I am glad he has mentioned it, but there is a certain property in that same geographical location.
Laikipia.
Yes, it's called Solai Ranch. That ranch, that piece of property is riddled with confusions that have lasted decades. Yes. Now, the same group of people, these people who are landless, these people who have been displaced, same group, it was understood in the 60s, 70s, that this land would be given to them. People did the same thing of collecting money, doing this, doing the other. That land to date, grandchildren are still trying to figure out what their grandfathers did about that land and who owns and how it's going to come to them.
Solio Ranch.
Solio Ranch. What do I call it? Solai?
Yes.
Solio. Just a little slip of the twist. Yes. So, can they solve that one?
Before now, this one. How about solving that one?
No. Let's start with those people who said a long time ago.
Mama Mukami has been attending all national celebrations.
We've seen her. We've seen her.
All right?
Yes.
If the house she occupies, she lives in right now in Komorok,
it's not hers.
It's not hers. Why would we be talking about, so we are going to buy you to help you acquire this house? I mean, it's sure.
Why don't you start by acquiring that house so that we know this?
Yeah,
if I got that house,
can see.
That house and 3 adjacent houses.
But he said he will do it. He said.
No, just do it now.
He will assist her to acquire the house she currently rents. His government will do it. So what am I saying here? Promises galore. And I'm telling you, before the week will run out, this is just a few days after the 6,000 shillings, which Eric is so hopeful of, had been promised as well.
No, that house is going to be acquired for her.
That one?
That is going to be acquired.
These are, what am I saying? Though? We've gotten into the season. I'm telling you, in the next 9 months, by the time this president baby is birthed, the promises that will be flung at Kenyans, you be ready.
Let me ask you this simple question.
Economic revolution is coming in 2022.
I like the idea of the expanded political space where you have contenders who the optics of there's a real competition going on.
Yeah.
It is a good thing.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ruto, the deputy president, has done an excellent job of opening that space up completely and even the discussions. However, all the things that these politicians want to say, all right, this is where I get off. Prior to those utterances, what have you been doing? Yes, it's not as though the coast suddenly appeared off the horizon last week. It's not as though the problems of the coastals appeared over the horizon on the weekend. No, they're historical problems.
Now he's saying the top has been unable to deliver.
No, when he was Minister for Agriculture is practiced at the coast. I would like to know and to hear the specific plans, the specific things that the Ministry of Agriculture did to help coastal. You know, the thing is,
the top failed.
He said, so what he says, no. If the top failed then, essentially you're saying that the top is going to bring it again here. He says
the bottom this time is what is going to make it work.
But when he says is he the bottom at the top now when he's president?
Now he's speaking on behalf of the bottom.
at the top. I will create employment for skilled youths with certificates, diplomas, and degrees if I form the next government. This is when he had come off saying that unemployment was to blame for the widespread poverty in the country, drug abuse across the country, and he promised to tackle the menace immediately he wins next year. Not now. Nothing can be done now.
No.
Next year, immediately. You know what immediately means? William Ruto, then.
Yeah.
These things that have been plaguing the country for decades.
You know something?
Done and dusted. It will be sorted.
Let's take a break. Let's just take a break. It's 13 minutes to 7. Kenya's biggest conversation continues. Wherever you're tuned in, we are glad. Who is this? Who is in Githunguri, Kiambu? David Kioi. Karibu sana. Plus Obadia, who says, Nairobi ni kondaani. Good morning.
There are so many people peddling what is false and that it bears remarkable resemblance to what is true.
Politicians have their agenda, and their agenda is to use every opportunity to sell that agenda and to loot this nation.
I have seen major strides that are done in this country when we talk to each other as against talking at each other.
We start getting back into the tribal cocoons which were put to us by the colonial powers. You know, they gave us physical freedom but not mental freedom. We're still mentally colonized today into these cocoons of tribe.
Now, if you live in an area where it's difficult to find a dog.
He's a goat. I kid you not.
In which part of this country is it difficult to find a dog? So that you resort. Nafandi umbo yako iko na pembe.
Nini umba special.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice FM, Malindi. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done
Okay,
right.
11 minutes.
94.4 Spice.
Fight to have campaign cash rules. Civil society organizations are moving to court to challenge the decision by the IEBC to revoke campaign spending limits. Now remember, IEBC had published those campaign spending limits.
Yes,
Said,
we went to
oh,
Mombasa.
President, this much. Then members of parliament said, you know what, you cannot just publish things here without consulting us. My friend. So IEBC, tail between its legs, published a gazette notice saying we have revoked all those things. Now, we don't have. So, the Constitution and Reform Education Consortium, CRECO, and the Elections Observation Group, ELOG, faulted the IEBC for giving politicians leeway to spend as they please in next year's general election. They questioned the basis for revocation of the rule, saying the Commission was within the law to gazette the same despite the decision by Parliament to annul them. IEBC in a gazette notice revoked its earlier notification on campaign contributions and spending limits after the National Assembly annulled the draft campaign financing regulations for political parties and candidates. MPs had protested that the decision by IEBC to gazette the regulations before they were approved by the House was erroneous. According to the Election Campaign Financing Act, the regulations should have been in place 1 year to the elections. So now we don't have any. You want to spend 77 billion shillings?
It's okay.
Spend.
If you have it.
Spend. Who's complaining?
Sorry, just explain for me again why the certain turn of...
So this is what happened, okay? There's a law in place.
Yes.
These are regulations. Regulations go to Parliament.
Yeah.
Okay? Committee on Delegated Legislation. IEBC published and gazetted the regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Parliament said, no, what you should have done is you should have brought the regulations to us.
Then we debate. And
we debate, we adopt them, and then gazette them. So then IEBC said, okay, come on, but sorry. Sorry.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
That's what I was asking you to repeat. You know what it is?
Yeah.
It's just Parliament again saying we want to be able to do what we want to do.
Yep.
So we're going to now bring in the intricacies of the law as is to be able to allow us to do essentially what we want to do.
Yes.
We're not saying that what you have done is wrong or that you didn't follow procedure. We're essentially just telling you We want to be able to spend as much. We don't want to be asked questions where this money came from. We don't want to be told we cannot spend as much as we want to. At the end of the day, finish. Full stop.
Parliament has basically been frustrating this move from the very beginning. Since this law was passed, they said it will not be applicable in the 2017 elections. It will be applicable in the next election. And then between 2017 and 2021, they even came up with some amendment to that law and said, we want to amend this law. They never moved it anywhere. This is basically just Parliament saying, you know what, we want to do what we want. It's MPs basically saying that.
We want to play.
Yeah, not the institution of Parliament, but members of Parliament. Yep. Yet another building has collapsed in Kiambu. The ghost of collapsing buildings struck Kiambu County again yesterday morning, leaving a trail of destruction. Eyewitnesses watched from a distance as a 9-story building in Oj area in Roiro crumbled down in seconds. Oj. According to residents, James Minor, one of the residents, said he heard loud rumblings in the night. I thought it was an earthquake. It brings to 3 the number of buildings that have collapsed in the county in 2 months. Roiro head of Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Justice Ombati, said the building collapsed at around 3 a.m. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. We have cordoned off the scene, and over 50 families in the neighborhood have been evacuated. We spoke about this the last time. There was still a collapse of a building in Kiambu County. And the person in charge of this department in Kiambu said, oh, you know, the problem was not with us. I don't know, it was with the NCA. NCA was on the ground, National Construction Authority. They said it's not us, it's the county. The fact of the matter is that a building started being constructed. There is no way a building in an urban area can come up without inspectors from the county coming there. No
Or at least
way.
being said to have come there.
Not being said, coming. No way it happens. In Kiambu, in Nairobi, a building. How many stories again did I say?
9.
Imagine. Absolutely no way those guys would continue building, and there's no one from the county that has come.
Inspection is not at you finish, then
They just keep coming.
They keep coming.
Yes.
That means that they come and they pick something and they
Precisely. And also, that very contractor has something called a certificate that he issues so that he can get paid.
Yes.
And it is in phases.
Yes.
Right, and in order to do this, you actually have to have shown up.
Well, the inspectors have to give you the okay. You put up the building up to this stage, okay, let's have a look at it.
Yeah.
Does it meet our specifications? Then they sign on it, they do the needful, then you hand over the certificate to whoever the owner is, and that's how it's done. So Eric is absolutely right. It is not possible to put up that building willy-nilly.
Yeah,
and then it just,
without it, the council or even the NCA not knowing about it. This is absolute nonsense. And then now look at who's suffering. Somebody else who put up their building properly and got tenants is one who's being left without tenants. Why? Because houses in the neighborhood are being evacuated. What do you mean?
Why? Those houses have been up, they've been functioning, and some of them are not. Were not houses that were built yesterday.
And being evacuated does not mean that, come, let's move you from this house to another house. It's get out of this house. Now. So you're being told to look for rent, deposit, all those things.
Again.
Deposit your stima, deposit your maji, deposit your miezi tatu, deposit and you
Out.
Look for another
and
house.
The person who's depending on these rents, who had a perfectly all right building where people were living and paying rent, now is left with nothing.
Yep, with no tenants.
It's not nothing.
By
It's not
law.
nothing.
It's negative nothing.
Yes, because chances are there is a facility you're given to put up that building.
Yes,
and there's
yes,
this
you
rent
have to
that helps
pay.
you pay
Yes,
for it.
yes.
So it's not, you're not
Can
at par.
imagine you go to the facility and say, actually, you know what? The building in the vicinity
Yeah.
fell.
Collapsed.
The
So
neighborhood
that's
building
why,
collapsed.
And they say, what?
So we've
What
been
does that have to do with
evacuated.
you? So I don't have
tenants. So what?
And they'll tell you, okay. So you
When
just
are you
keep,
paying?
it's all right, you just keep paying.
You just keep paying. That's all we care
it's
about.
due on the 17th.
Yeah.
Okay.
The county, people should be able to take the county to court and the National Construction Authority to court.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, loss of livelihoods. All these things because of some negligence somewhere. What went wrong? How can you have 3 buildings
and why
collapsing?
is that question not being asked
That's
and
the point.
answered? What went wrong? And if this is happening within rapid succession of each other, that means that it's likely that another one is going to happen. In the
You
very
don't
near
know.
future. You don't know. So you could be walking about.
You can't even
building
tell your
collapses,
kids.
You don't know.
You're not even comfortable when your children are playing outside.
Yeah, this building could collapse.
Did we not have a chat with somebody who was fairly high up in this.
In the National Construction Authority. Yep.
I thought part of their purview was to ensure that such things don't happen.
It is.
And he gave us a very rosy outline of the things they do to ensure such things don't happen.
Yep.
And it's happened again in an area that has happened before.
Yep.
How?
Stinks of negligence, unfortunately.
NCA was established
For this.
after a spate of houses, buildings
collapses.
collapsing.
Yes.
That's when the National Construction Authority was actually established to make sure that this doesn't happen. It's happening.
So
we have a county government. It's happening. Come on, people. Final story, City, before we go to the top of the hour. Business Daily.
Business Daily. Actually, it has a really interesting headline. First of all, it has this picture of the collapsed building, just so that those who didn't
For
understand
good measure.
It. But there's an article here that I found particularly interesting with regards to, it is not the story, but where the story got to and the outcome. CBK loses to partner firm in Laiko Regency Row.
Okay.
Row. The story goes as follows. There had been this bid, a public bid for those who wanted to buy Grand Regency Laiko.
Right.
And there is a Malaysian-based company called Lanewood Development Limited, and it used its local agent Westmont Holdings to pay $185 million to CBK in 1997. That was 10% of the deposit that was required. However, the hotel was ultimately sold to Libya's Arab investment company and renamed Laiko. All right? Now, Westmont are seeking a refund of their money. So, this matter has gone up to the Supreme Court. Right. And the Supreme Court has said, yes, there's public good here. We will listen to this case.
Wow.
Yes.
CBK was saying, no. This,
What?
They need to go to.
It has come to us. It's ours. Why do you want it back? They've been told, let's hear this case.
Let's hear the case.
There's merit in this.
So Westmont is saying that they had followed procedure.
They're actually claiming that, these fellows were given this thing, but it is us who actually qualified to get this thing. That's essentially what they're saying. Why this story is of interest to me, 1997 is a long time ago. And among the people who were in the system at that particular point in time may not realize it, but this thing has now come back to bite them. Because when you talk about Laiko Grand Regency, you're going to talk about very many other things that happened in that period of time.
Yep.
Including Goldenberg.
Yep.
Yes. So the story hasn't gone away yet.
Yep. And part of the reason why the CBK ended up with that piece of property anyways, because of Goldenberg, Patni.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Keep it right here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. This is the Situation Room, broadcasting on SpiceFM around the country and also broadcasting around the world on SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and www.spicefm.co.ke. 254 Nyasunda. Good morning, good peeps. Good morning, 254. Good morning. It's now 7 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Odium leader Raila Odinga has promised to help the family of former Mau freedom fighters get land. Speaking during a visit to former Mau leader Dedan Kimathi's widow Mukami Kimathi in Komarok, Nairobi, Raila regretted the tough times freedom fighters are going through and promised to persuade the government to have them buy a piece of land worth 60 million shillings they have been paying for but have experienced difficulties. Giving all indications that he will be vying for presidency in the 2022 general elections, Odinga promised that if the Jubilee administration does not address their plight, he will do so when he forms the next government. Odinga also promised to buy Mukami a house.
It's a property that they have identified in Laikipia, and they have already raised 60 million shillings, and that they need to be supported to be able to buy that land. I'm going to ask the government to do so, but I've also said that if they don't do it, my government will do it.
Raila visited the 90-year-old Mukami following an invitation, this coming just days before the Mashujaa Day celebrations. Now, Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi is asking President Uhuru Kenyatta to lift the curfew in order to open the economy. Mudavadi argues that the curfew put in place to contain the spread of COVID-19 is hurting Kenyans.
Kile naomba tu kupitia kwa Fred Matiang'i hata nafasi amshawishi rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya kwamba tuzidi kuzingatia COVID rules, lakini curfew tu, curfew.
He was speaking during the burial ceremony of lawyer Evans Monari. Now, these as Kenya recorded 74 new COVID-19 cases from a sample size of 3,987 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now 1.9%, with total confirmed infections rising to 252,033, and cumulative tests so far conducted at 2,639,107. From the cases, 54 are Kenyans, while 20 are foreigners, 44 are males, and 30 are females, while the youngest is a 7-year-old child and the oldest is 101 years. The ministry also announced that 76 patients recovered from the coronavirus disease, with 60 from the home-based isolation and care program, while 16 were discharged from various health facilities countrywide. Total recoveries stand at 245,254. Now, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muthui has criticized ODM Chief Raila Odinga's promise to provide poor families with 6,000 shillings a month. Speaking in Kiharu, Murang'a, Muturi said that Mount Kenya residents, like other Kenyans across the country, not only want money to be handed over but also want better economic policies. He emphasized that the promise will not end poverty, adding that the said funds will come from the taxes Kenyans pay.
Hata wakati nasema tutafanyia wananchi hivi, tutawapatia hela ya bure ati wakae tu. Unajua mambo zingine nasikia naona kama ni ndoto. Kwa sababu hiyo ya kulipa hao wenye ambao wafanye kazi ni nyinyi tu wenyewe mtatoa. What is important is to make a conducive environment for all of us to apply ourselves innovatively and in an industrious manner. Tunajua vijana tumeelimisha wengi, lakini tunatakiwa tufanye conditions zetu, environment yetu ya biashara iwe ni ya kuvutia.
Muturi's statement is in line with that of Deputy President William Ruto, who in his recent campaign in the Coast region criticized Raila Odinga's statement over subsidies for the vulnerable. Now, investigations are underway to determine the reasons behind the collapse of a 9-story building under construction at OJ area in Kiambu County. No one was injured in the incident. About 15 vehicles that had been parked near the building were destroyed. Residents living near the building vacated their houses for fear that their buildings would also collapse.
Kuna watu wamepata ajali. Kuna mtu mmoja ilikuwa amesamia ndani, lakini anajua hii ghorofa ilikuwa paki mbili, iko juu ingine, iko chini ingine. Huyu mtu alikuwa ameamushwa, ameenda paki ya chini. Ile ghorofa imeshaanguka, huyu mtu uko paki ya chini lakini hajaumia, hata sasa iko sawa. Ametoka.
Nyumba imeboromoka, nisikea pande huku nikatoroka. Nyumba ilipoanguka mimi nikatoroka.
2 days to Mashujaa Day celebrations in Kirinyaga County, and political differences are being witnessed between Interior PS Karanja Kibisho and Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. Kibisho lashed out at Waiguru, claiming that senior officials in his docket have been allocated few seats ahead of the celebrations. Despite saying that they have been cooperating with Waiguru on the preparation for the celebrations, the governor has been raising allegations aimed at tarnishing his reputation. Kibisho said that Waiguru has been mishandling officials from his ministry who have been touring the facility to supervise the progress. A few days, Waiguru accused Kibisho of disrespect for sidelining her during the preparations, arguing that the exercise was marred by political undertones. And AFC Leopards earned a hard-fought point from a barren draw against Westfield KCB in the Football Kenya Federation Premier League match at Thika Municipal Stadium. This news comes in the next bulletins comprehensively. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Mombasa Road today doesn't look good, guys. I can't tell you anything good about it. So we've got traffic on Mombasa Road all the way from the Weybridge and then through to General Motors today. That diversion is an absolute mess, right? There are folks who are using the ICD route. Everybody's running away from what was General Motors. Remember, the footbridge no longer exists. The stage doesn't exist anymore. We have traffic that's going towards the airport, North Airport Road, the old Mombasa Road, and then going towards the ICD route. It's absolutely jam-packed. There is traffic on the southern bypass. It is an absolute mess. It's a manic Monday, guys, and we must be prepared for this. If you haven't
how many lanes are those?
Those are now 4 lanes, right? Where there are no lanes.
Here at Libra House.
Where there's no road, there are 4 lanes. All right? And this is in and outbound traffic. It does not look good at all today. I don't know what to tell you guys, but let's get updates as to where you might be stuck right now. Let us know, and so we can see what alternate routes folks are using and how to get through that. Langata Road is packed, as is Jogo Road getting into the city centre. Coming out of Westlands, it looks crazy. Use the Red Hill Link Road to get off of Waiyaki Way. The Thika Superhighway also is crazy, and that's past the drive-in, feeding off from Outer Ring. Hey? It's going to be that Monday, guys, and we need to brace up for it. Let's see what it looks like in a short while, but it's likely to get worse. Talk to us on SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text on 40127. Want to help out here, guys? Let us know what you see.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes
It's
in
8
punching
minutes
up,
after 7.
not
Very good
down.
morning to you, and how are you doing? Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation, the second hour of The Situation Room this morning. City Muga has what he calls a Kalenjin proverb.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. He wants me to be specific and regionalize it, to segment it rather. That will come in the course of the week.
Sawa.
Kalian Tan Negi Lichi Kiptome Tirim.
This sounds different from how it sounded at 6.
Yes, your ears at 6 were still a little dull. Now they are active.
And by 8 o'clock, you'll be hearing something totally different.
Yes, because now your ears are alive because they've been hearing. Kalian Tan Negilichi Kiptome Tirin.
Okay.
The troublesome cow is a cow that compels the owner to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures.
It compels the owner to follow it
Yes.
as it looks for greener pastures.
Yes.
And that's troublesome.
Yes. You know this, it's laden with very many interesting things, this particular
The
proverb.
cow is doing what a cow wants to do. It should be doing.
Looking for food.
It's looking for food.
Why didn't the owner take it to the greener pastures?
Yes.
Why is the owner letting the cow look for greener pastures?
Then you want to say I'm troublesome.
Yeah.
I'm only doing what I'm
you're
naturally
saying-
inclined to do.
Aha. You've gotten the trend of where this thing is going. These citizens of this country are the ones who are making us corrupt.
Troublesome is the cow.
We represent you. It is you. We are just a mirror of you.
We are you.
Yes. We.
We're just doing what you would do.
Yes, that's all we do. We do what you would do.
Hey.
If you took your responsibility, things would be very different.
Okay.
Meaning we've blocked off the road. It is your job to make sure that you find another route to go wherever you want to go.
You go wherever.
You are being troublesome and asking us to create new routes. for you.
Surely. Yeah.
And you can see, and you can see we've blocked this one.
Yeah. And you want us to have told you yesterday that we're going to block it today.
Yes.
Why?
If you try and tell us where the direction we should be going, you're troublesome.
But of course,
Yes, no.
you're forcing us to do something. We are building you a road, can't you see? And the process of building a road has issues. Can't you see?
should have understood this.
We've built these many roads before.
Troublesome is the cow. Lenny Rioba is coming towards town at Gateway Mall and stuck in between, it's in the middle lane. Says Gateway Mall is moving. Okay, Lenny.
Give it 5 minutes, brother.
Let us know. Keep updating us. Let us know when you get to the JKIA and then when you get to
JKIA
the
is far.
Imaradaima.
Let us know when you get to the SGR. Here, he's still at Gateway.
This
There's
is
another
Gateway.
50 meters.
Yeah. He's
that-
probably past that. If he was moving at Gateway. Anyway, keep updating us, Lenny. It's good. It's, just sending the pictures on SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Just take a snap wherever you are on the road and let's see how it's moving. Okay? Now, City, remember the experience you gave us about boarding a taxi and then the taxi driver telling you, Hii mambo ya mafuta tuliwaachia. He's using gas.
You have absolutely no idea the trepidation and the consternation that I went through.
He told you basically his vehicle is now using LPG gas. Cooking gas. What you know as cooking gas.
I asked him to Xerox it, as in repeat again, photocopy it for me so that I can understand it clearly. Happily, he told me. I went silent.
And what did he say? How did he explain it?
He told me it's a place in industrial area.
Right.
Okay. No, first I asked, gas, this one for cooking. He said, yes, gas, this one for cooking. I said, okay. How does it work? He said, what you do? He said, the gas not here. It says it's somewhere at the back. I said, back where I'm sitting.
It's in the boot.
It's the boot. I said, back boot behind my back. I said, okay. He said, no, you take it to industrial area. There's a place where they fit it. So I said, so how exactly does it work? Is it using gas? I said, no. It is not... I have fuel. But fuel, petrol, in other words, is just a small component. We combine the two.
All right.
And so because of the gas, I use less fuel, as though gas not fuel. I use less petrol.
Yes.
And the car, I said, efficiency, say it works very well. I said, in terms of cost, I said, let's reduce the cost tremendously.
So it's petrol and gas.
Yes.
Okay, gas being the petrol and
it's a hybrid car. This is a hybrid vehicle.
Gas is for groom, that one. Okay.
This is hybrid. Just like the way you have other hybrid vehicles on the road, they have the batteries. So you use the petrol just to start
ignite
the car, and then after that, when you're in traffic, it switches off the petrol and then just uses the battery.
The gas, the battery.
Remember, gas is a petroleum product, actually, when you think about it.
Yes, it is.
So essentially, I asked him, so this thing that you have, you're telling me that previously, when you have fuel, the thing sucks it and consumes the fuel. So now this one sniffs the gas.
It sniffs the gas.
Yes. He told me he doesn't really know, but it works very well. I said, God, just let me get to where I'm going, please, if you don't mind.
Expunge this memory from me.
Yes. If I take a taxi, I ask.
Gas or diesel?
Yes, happily, so that the guy thinks I'm happy about that. Tell me it's
gas. Because in this case, you know the way they call you. I say, unaenda wapi? Sasa uko nani? Gas?
Kuna ile gas ya ukupi. Yeah. Okay, wewe endelea na hiyo gas yako.
There's a company called Proto Energy. It has fitted 3,500 vehicles with that.
It has.
3,500. And how much does it cost? Only 55,000 shillings for the purchase of the LPG system to be fitted in vehicles. 55 Gs. So they made a presentation to the Association of Kenya Insurers the other day, and the Association of Kenya Insurers looked at them. They went through, okay, so what exactly do you do? How do you do it? They went on a fact-finding mission to the Proto Energy's premises in industrial area, and then out of it, the Association of Kenya Insurers says, okay, we can actually go ahead and insure vehicles that are using this. Okay? They say this note is contained in a circular dated October 13th, 2021. The fact-finding mission was prompted by Proto Energy presentation to the association's Motor Technical Committee on the use of LPG. While the report from Aki okayed the use of LPG, it says insurers can only provide covers to vehicles with such a system as an accessory. The purpose of this circular is therefore to advise members that motor vehicles fitted with LPG can be insured without fear of any increased risk. This is according to Tom Geshohe, the Aki Chief Executive Officer. In the circular, the LPG system does not increase the risk of damage to a vehicle in the event of an accident. The assessor also recommended that warranties and exclusions can be included in relation to the insured to inform the insurer and the insured to keep service records, vehicles to display an identification sign. So you should be very clear. Gas, mutungia gas somewhere.
It should be on the vehicle.
Yes. The cover will also exclude substandard installations. The green light comes months after notices from some insurance firms showed they will not provide covers to vehicles that have the LPG system. Some insurers, such as UAP, had previously warned that some motorists do not have a manufacturer's approval to alter the fuel system from petrol or diesel to gas. GM Underwriting had also issued a similar notice in August. A report filed by a team that inspected the process of converting the fuel consumption system of vehicles to gas at the Proto Energy detailed some of the safety measures that these automobiles are fitted with. Repairs in the event of damage requires persons well trained in the installation of the system. So far, Proto has fitted 3,500 vehicles with the system. Some of the safety features include the fact that the cylinder is 3 millimeters thick and it's made of steel. The gas is filled through a filling valve, which has an automatic fill limiter. A switch in the dashboard allows one to select the required option at will. There is a seamless changeover while on the move. There are also pressure relief valves that ensure the internal tank pressure stays within the safe tolerance limits. If the engine stops, the flow of gas stops automatically. In the event of an accident, the system has an automatic shutdown valve. Hey, it's safe.
It would appear so.
Yeah.
Interestingly, have they talked about the cost vis-a-vis what you would normally spend on fuel?
Comparisons.
Yeah.
Now I think that's where you get testimonials like from CT's cab driver who tells you, when I buy a mtungi of gas, maybe a 13 kg, how long it's going to last versus if I were to put, how much is a 13 kg gas cylinder?
2,600 shillings.
2,600.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's 2,600. Compare that to how much you'd spend on petrol.
By the time you have 3,500 people who fitted that equipment, there must be some benefit they're deriving. 3,000 is a big number.
Yep.
Indeed. For something new, for something novel, yes.
Yep.
It's
a big number. And this is something that then ought to be discussed even wider. And it's good that Association of Kenya Insurers took the lead and, took the initiative and said, let's interrogate this. Let's not just say no, for the sake of saying no. Let's actually interrogate this and say, how do we go about this? Yep. It's something else that the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority also ought to now start looking at and say, okay, so how can we make sure that it is being well used and utilized in the market? Good stuff that's happening in the country.
By the way, what I find delightful about this story is the ability of our institutions to embrace new technology. Okay? Have you heard of other places in the world where people use LPG gas as part of the fuel system in a car? I hadn't until I came across.
Until I heard, I was just started hearing it here.
Yes, I hadn't. I mean, what isn't also being told is that we have companies in this country that can convert your vehicle into an electric car.
Yes.
Yep.
As we speak, they can actually do it for you. Now, it's not talked about, but it exists. So the spirit of innovation is high. Now, there's an article that I saw in The Nation that actually caught my eye, and this has to do with ETR machines.
Okay.
There is a local company that is called Deja Vu Technologies. They have come up with a new ETR machine that will help reduce or even net tax cheats. Kenya.
How?
Grown. All right. Do you mind if I read it?
No, please go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Let me read it. The new model electronic tax register, ETR, innovation by Deja Vu Technology Limited, it transmits information such as sales, businesses, make products sold, and relevant payable tax to KRA in real time. In a response to calls by KRA for businesses to adopt tax innovation management system teams and to advances of the ETR system. The company developed a prototype of the machine which has passed several tests set by KRA after being submitted to the authority for tests on its efficacy and now waits licensing as it passes its final process.
So what does it do? In real time, it alerts KRA of how much tax is due, what transaction has taken place.
Yes, this is what has been, all the details of what has been bought, yes. So that when you're talking about the taxes, the levies that should be appropriate to it, there's no doubt.
It's transmitting.
Yes, it's in real time. So it knows.
Real-time electronic transmission.
It knows.
Of Form 34A.
Yeah, kabisa. Tap.
And the servers are in?
They haven't looked. I've not seen.
So the current ETR machines, you go and key in, it generates a receipt.
That's what it does.
So KRA
for
would
the
then
product,
be able to come
this.
and plug in and then maybe be able to
Yes.
look at the records of the transactions that have taken place.
Yeah, this one transmits.
This one is transmitting every transaction as long as you key in and
it's like M-Pesa.
It sends.
Like M-Pesa.
Huyu ameuza.
Yes, M-Pesa. And details.
Ameuza.
Yes. Na ameuza hii, quantity hii, na bei ni hii.
Na VAT ni hii.
So you don't. So once you mention product quantity, the issue of VAT, all those things become a non-issue.
Right.
And somebody can't say, it wasn't this. It's all documented.
All documented.
And it goes directly.
Not bad.
Kenyan company.
The
bottom line here.
Kenyan.
You know what I say? That in the times that we live in now, and if we're trying to make that skip and a jump from whatever level world to the next, first, second, third trying to get to second to first, that innovation is going to be the driver to get to that. Look at the times when the Industrial Revolution took place, whereby people were doing extremely manual things, horse and carriage, and then moved to machine. That was during the Industrial Revolution. And that what it did is that you now have the economies of the world who are first world. They are the ones who were at that point during the Industrial Revolution. And they're still reaping the benefits to date. We're talking about, close to...
hundreds of years. Something like three
centuries, right?
Yes.
And look at what that did for us in terms of a leap. At the time where you had things like the telephone being invented, you had things like the aeroplane being invented, like the motor vehicle being invented, all these things taking place during
figuring out electricity.
Right. During the Industrial Revolution. And look at where they are now. Leaps and bounds. That then they were able to do so many things because this revolution took place. Infrastructure, something that cannot be compared with any other places in the world. Setting up of buildings within economies and things like this. Because of that revolution that took place at that time, look at what it did. And so I'm saying that today, in the world that we live in today, what is going to allow countries to make those leaps and bounds is innovation.
We're actually in the middle of that revolution.
Right.
In this country, we're actually in the thickest of it.
To see how far you will go is the support and implementation then that needs to go along with it.
And especially the protection of those rights.
Exactly.
The patents and all. It's very, very, very important that somebody like that now, for example, that company, if they're able to register their IP and protect it so that they know, as I am working on this, there's a way I can go and register this and protect it. And that's where now all this Kenya Industrial Properties Institute, Intellectual Properties Institute comes in, the innovation, what do you call them? Kenya. Innovation Authority comes in, all of them working in harmony.
And you're talking about the human resource that's available in the country.
Yeah.
Yes.
This company was started in 2008.
There you go.
And this thing we've been discussing, how do you do this? They've come up with it. This long debate, and it's like you buy it. Everything you need to know about it is documented for you, including the tax that you're paying.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that piece of paper, you know how it is, you needed a physical receipt for everything. Then M-Pesa came along.
Right.
M-Pesa is a receipt.
Digital one.
Yes.
Indeed. But then you also need to, I think it's very important for us to look at harnessing this resource because it's unsaid. For many people, it's known, but unsaid. The numbers of people who are serving as a resource outside of these countries of ours on the continent for first world still till today, because they realize that, hold on a minute, there's gems here, so let's take them and they work for us. But if we're not able right now to harness the resource that is present here today for innovation, we're going to continue losing. I mean, we looked at the brain drain that took place in the 90s across the continent, right? Today, you have people who are able to look at how many, if we just need to look, we'll find them. We had a gentleman who sat here who's working on sending a satellite to space. We had people who are looking at things like chewable mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many things that are happening. You would be surprised at the numbers of people who are still being taken out of the country to go and work still for developed countries. So now, because of our inability or unwillingness to harness that resource and use it for innovation in this country and countries around the continent, that must be looked at.
Do you know just how right you are? I mean, most Western nations have declining populations. So the institutions like universities that they built are underpopulated. So one of the things that you'll find many developed countries in Europe, for instance, are doing, and even Japan, is they're opening up space for people to come in.
Come in.
Scholarships are being offered. And then it's not a question of just studying. You are offered an opportunity to study and even to stay and work. They make it so interesting. There are countries in the EU where the moment you get to the level of PhD, you are paid as you are studying for your PhD.
Yeah.
You're paid. Getting a job is not a problem, even at the postgraduate level.
Indeed.
Why is all this? They've understood they need the manpower, and they're providing an environment in which the manpower can come in with ease. Now, America were ahead of this particular curve a long time ago. So long as somebody was able to be productive, they were quick to embrace you.
Yep.
Very, very quick to embrace you. Why do you think for the longest time America had some of the highest rates of immigration going into that particular country?
Indeed.
Now, their neighbor Canada is doing exactly the same thing.
Now.
They're literally advertising for people to go.
Please come.
Yes.
This is true. Look at if you want to look at the blueprint of the makeup of human resource of places like Silicon Valley, of the World Bank itself, I know at least 3 people that I went to school with today who were recruited from here to go and work for the World Bank in Washington, D.C. And this is now their map looking at Africa and saying, okay, look at the minds of people who are doing 1, 2, 3 things here. And we know that we have, as you say, we have a declining population. Pick them up and bring them to this side now. Governments being able to harness that resource, harness that talent, harness that skill, use it here unto development is those, to me, are the campaign promises that need
That
to
should
be
made. It's a good thing, though, to note in that story, KRA said we'd like people to innovate and come to us.
Yes, they did.
And that's how this company now ended up being tapped by KRA.
And KRA had actually mentioned it to us when we talked to one of the people here. And they kept their word. Now, you see, that is what gains traction.
Yep.
They said, we now have an example.
That it was done.
It is done.
Yes. Yep.
And the story is clear. This person went to KRA. KRA, let's go through the process. And they said, we like the process. Now, get it licensed.
Now let's get it done.
Yes.
The same thing, actually, the day that the CS for Information and Innovation agrees to come to the Situation Room, he'll tell us a lot of the things that they have actually done.
I'm sure there's a great deal that we
very
have
many
not
things,
heard of and we don't know.
Very many things that are taking place, very many platforms that we see about them all the time. The one that we are currently using for immunization now for the COVID vaccine.
Yes.
Developed, managed by Kenya, Mchanjo.
But the database
being run by
It does. The whole country is sitting on it right now.
My friend, let me tell you, there may be a delay in relaying that information.
But it's there.
But I was being told by someone who works for a relative of mine that they were actually surprised that they got a message on their phone. It's a Mulika Mwizi that they had gotten their first chanjo a while back. Now, could they come for the second one?
Now they are
on
due
this
for the
particular
second
day?
one.
Meaning, they registered you, they had your phone number, they're communicating.
And the database is actually alive.
It's alive and it's working.
Yep.
Yes.
There are very many things that are taking place, here and there. Just so I think we are a bit disjointed. So let's take this break. Where are you now, Lenny? So in about 4 minutes, he had moved from Gateway Mall to JKIA. And then about 2 minutes thereafter, he got to Cabanas. And then he says, completely slowed down before Cabanas. So between then and now, where have you reached, Lenny Rioba? Let us know. Cabanas to GM, hell on earth, Agostino Ndubi says this on Twitter. Oh my goodness. Just let us know what's happening. Lenny, you're a man on the ground. Let's just find out how these things are going. Bristol says, I have used LPG for over 1 year now. If one can afford it, I would highly recommend it. Listen, Bristol, please call us 0719-012-600. Share that experience of using that LPG in a car with us. And let's hear, what is it that you say you've been using it for over a year? All those questions that we're asking ourselves. So is it cheaper than petrol? Is it not? Is the cost of installation, does it end up paying for itself? 0719-012-600 Bristol. We'd like to hear from you. 7:30. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
And now we're in a society where men have become very lazy.
Mm.
They have made people's daughters become mamafuas. You know mamafua?
Yes.
That you come to a man's house, maybe you went out or you've come for a weekend, you find all his shirts in his laundry basket.
Yeah.
He was waiting for you to
come and
Are
clean
you
them.
his wife? Including his inner garments.
Right, yeah.
Ladies, stop doing that.
Let me
Those
tell
are
you.
wifely duties, and even some wives don't
That's
do them.
literally what I was about to say. I was wondering, there's even some wives who refuse to do that.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840.
If I'm found guilty, there is no problem. I'm willing to serve. I have no problem. Jails are meant for human beings.
They say a society gets the leadership it deserves. If you have a corrupt, crooked and rotten society like we have in Kenya, then of course they will get that kind of a leadership.
I think the president should dissolve parliament. That's the best solution at this moment in time. Dissolve parliament.
All of you go home.
Yes, we all go home.
How are we encouraging other people who might have new and creative ideas? Young people who are making money without any government help. They are just buying their own bundles, they are going on TikTok and making money. KRA is coming after them.
I've been in parliament for 15 years. We have been unable to pass the gender law. And yet no presidential candidate is talking about it now. Because we are fake. The truth is, all the men refuse to vote for that law.
What did Sonko do to Pumwani Maternity Hospital?
Yeah, he
with
cleaned
his
it up.
own money.
Cleaned it with his own money. That was him as an individual.
Yeah. And I did not say he was cleaning his own money. I was saying he cleaned
Foot, mouth. Foot, mouth. Eric.
Okay.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Oh, this morning it is cloudy in Nairobi, currently at 16 degrees, highs of 26 and lows of 15 today. And in Nakuru, sunny conditions at 14, highs of 27 and lows of 14. 14 will also be the low in a mostly sunny Nyeri at 15. It'll go to highs of 26. Eldoret is mostly cloudy at 16, highs of 25 and lows of 14. Let's take a look into Mombasa, where in some parts it's raining at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 24. And in Malindi, 27 degrees, sunny conditions, highs of 30 and lows of 25. Kisumu this morning, cloudy conditions, highs of 26, and in Kakamega we'll see highs of 27. All right, in Kampala it's mostly sunny at 20, highs of 27, lows of 19. In Johannesburg, mostly sunny conditions at 10, highs of 22 and lows of 9. Dar es Salaam is sunny at 24, highs of 30 and lows of 23, while rain continues to come down in Lagos at 24. That'll be today's low, going to highs of 31. It's 24 degrees in Kinshasa. We'll see highs of 32 and lows of 23. It's the ninth circle of hell on Mombasa Road this morning, and so what we are being told so far doesn't look really good. You'll be all right just before you get to the Gateway Mall around there, and then thereafter it's absolute madness. Okay, so this is what is happening. The footbridge that was on Saturday, you blink and Monday morning it's not there anymore, and so there's a lot of traffic. If you're wondering what that has caused, is that there's some major diversions in and outbound along that area today. And so unfortunately all we see is red. That's just one part of the city, and like they say, if Mombasa Road gets a headache, the rest of the city is also in problems. Jogo Road looks like a mess, and Ngong Road as well. The Southern Bypass, bumper to bumper. That would have offered you some good reprieve to get off Mombasa Road, but not this morning. Let's also look at the Thika Superhighway. So we have a lot of incoming traffic from Outer Ring. It's spilling off over into the Thika Superhighway. There's traffic on Kiambu Road this morning. Everywhere you look, there's traffic this morning. We're going to see how we can get out of it without too much of a scratch. It's a few minutes past 7:30. Let's look at it in a short while, but we need you to tell us, have you found a good route? Folks need it this morning, guys. Talk to us there. Text us on 40127.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Everything nice.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
All right, 24
Mornings
minutes to
done
8.
right.
Let's see this conversation.
94.
The conversation continues. So people are really feeling it on Mombasa Road this morning, aren't they? And this is just between City Cabanas coming to General Motors.
Yes. Okay. So that the footbridge, right?
Footbridge.
Yes.
You
The
know,
footbridge.
It's called the Kidero Footbridge.
Oh, sorry, gotta get it
Which one?
right.
At GM?
Yes,
Yeah.
at General Motors does not exist. It's currently being brought down. Would it be nice if you knew this coming into the week?
If you knew it last week, because they didn't decide this the day before.
No. It was in the plan. So, sharing that information with the folks who actually use the road would have been fantastic.
Okay.
So the footbridge is coming down. Certain parts of it are already down. As we speak. So the major part of it is coming down this morning currently. So what this means essentially is that inbound traffic, right, has been diverted to the ICD route, right?
Right.
Outbound traffic has then been diverted to where inbound traffic formerly would have been coming in. So going towards the airport, you cannot around General Motors. You will then turn right if you're coming from Enterprise Road, or if you're coming down from the Greater Mombasa Road, you will then go right, and then you will use the incoming lane to go out. If you are coming in from Mombasa Road, you will then turn left towards ICD and then come out somewhere around Libra House. Now, if you are a pedestrian and you're on the other side of the road and you need to cross over going towards Enterprise Road, I don't know. You were waiting for what you will do. We don't know. You'll find your way somehow.
So if you're coming from, let's say you're coming from Syokimau, and you want to get onto Enterprise Road,
Hey God.
because now you have to get in and come out at Libra House,
Yes.
which is past the junction to Enterprise.
Yeah, if you're a
So you have to
pedestrian now.
go, no, if
Or
you're
if you're
a motorist,
Uh-huh.
if you're a truck and you want to go to industrial area,
Mhm.
so you've got to get out at Libra.
Yes.
So
Then you will
there's
go down Mombasa Road.
you go down Mombasa Road, get to the southern bypass,
Lekoni interchange.
get to southern bypass, come up with that southern bypass and do the number 8.
But
Come
you
back
see
down.
Come back, but you see the thing is you have to go via Enterprise Road, and then you can't.
You can.
Yeah, you can, but then coming back onto Enterprise Road, you will not go left. Coming off Enterprise Road, you will go straight, and then you'll be diverted. You
What I'm
can't go
saying
left
is,
as usual.
so once you get to the southern bypass, go down southern bypass and meet Enterprise Road on the other end.
Yes, but
not from Mombasa Road anymore.
Oh no, to get to the city?
To Enterprise Road.
No, but are you going to the city now?
You're
or
going
are
to
you-
Enterprise Road.
Right.
Get to on Mombasa Road, southern bypass, get onto southern bypass, and then go down towards industrial area.
That's the way. Yeah. That's the way.
So if you're on Mombasa Road now, here, and you want to get onto Enterprise Road, there's no turnoff at...
There is. There's a turnoff. Now I'm saying there's a turnoff, and
there's a
can
turnoff.
go-
You can do left
still-
and join Enterprise Road.
Yes, but you can't go straight.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you were on
there's a
Enterprise Road
diversion there.
thinking, if you were coming from the city, right, thinking that you're going to avoid this whole Airtel mess here and then get onto Enterprise Road, you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? You can't go straight anymore. Or if you thought that you would go around industrial area, get onto Enterprise Road, and then just come and turn left at General Motors and go onto Mombasa Road, you can't do that.
You'll find a diversion there.
Yes, now you'll go straight.
Okay.
Yes. Confuses you, doesn't
Meanwhile,
it? Just a
6
bit.
days. 6 days ago. 6 days ago was what date?
6 days ago
12.
was the 12th of October.
Okay, on the 12th of October, Ken had said that by the 15th they were going to open the Haile Selassie to UN roundabout section.
Okay.
Haile Selassie to University Way was going to be opened.
Okay. In which direction?
Haile
open.
Selassie to University Way.
Okay. I'm just asking because I was on that road.
It's not open?
I don't know. Maybe what I saw was open, but it looks very much like what it's looked the week before and the week before that. So,
Haile Selassie to University should have been opened 3 days ago. And end of this month, Westlands to James Kishuru.
what's going to happen there?
October 30th.
Wait.
It will be open.
Sorry, hold on.
Westlands to...
The Westlands to where it was Before, which one was supposed to be opened by the 30th of September?
Maybe we just read the wrong date. Maybe we were thinking it's September 30th.
We did not.
You see what they've done to you?
And they meant.
Do you see what they've done to you?
Not read
My
the
dear, they've
wrong
conditioned you. They've conditioned you and you start doubting yourself.
Let me look.
No.
They had said September 30th.
Now,
bro.
when I told
it's
you
still on their
people
Twitter.
that the earliest.
Westlands to James Gishuru. September 30, 2021.
Voila.
That was what they were saying on the 27th of September.
That is when it will be opened.
Westlands James Gishuru will be opened on September 30th.
Now they're saying October 30th.
On the 12th of October, they say October 30th.
Why don't we take Eric's perspective and his way of looking at things and saying they haven't actually shut it. Traffic actually moves along that road. And also what they've done, those diversions that eventually take you to Raptor Road, there's a greater ease. Those mounds of earth that were there, some of them have been reduced.
To plateaus.
Yes, but what happened on that side is now happening on the other side.
On the other
side of the road. So access from Jugunas coming down Aga Khan High School, my friend.
You know what they should just do?
Yes.
They just say it will be opened. Don't give a date.
No, I don't think so, because there is what they say, and we are the ones who are making a mistake.
Oh.
They are not asking you to believe. They're just asking you to hear, okay?
This is what's happening.
And
in some cases, they just don't tell you. You'll come there, you'll find
and find the bridge is down.
Yes. They are communicating with you and telling you that we are aware, we are building it, and we are thinking that at some point in the future, but the closest date to us is, we are now on the, what's the date? 17th?
The 30th.
30th, yes. And then come the 30th. Did you say 30th? Yes, okay.
Move on to the next 30th.
When I told you this road, the earliest will be finished in 2022, you thought I was joking, isn't it?
No, you are still joking.
Probably 2023 is more realistic, isn't it?
But folks, I think it's important.
They say, for example, the elevated section is at 80.5% completion.
Which is the elevated section?
See, the ones where you see the column, the pillars.
I actually believed them, and then I started taking cognizance of those pillars. The only place where you see something that could be referred to as hinting at completion is here. Airtel going down. The rest of that journey onto GPO onwards, my friend, they are far. It's like only one lane looks like it has been completed. The other lane, some of it hasn't even been started.
Elevated is done. You're looking down. We are up there, my friend.
And I'm trying to tell you that even that elevation has not been done.
Elevation? It's been done, City.
Okay, what exactly is elevation? Then I get the impression
that columns have been erected.
Everywhere.
Columns have been erected. 80.5. 80.5. What you're looking at, you don't focus on the 15, on the remaining 19.5. Focus on the 80.5. Done in surface places.
I didn't do very well in maths when I was in school, but I do know how to count up to 10. Yeah. Okay, this thing, it's not adding up.
You know what? We can sit here. We can whine and complain, but it's not just whining and complaining for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It is extremely important that you have a moving population on a daily basis, right? And for something as critical as this, whereby they knew, people do plan as much as you want to think that it's on the contrary, but people do plan. You were expecting that the road, even you understand that it's being worked on. But there's merit in warning people that this is what we're going to do, that there will be diversionary traffic come Monday morning so that you can plan better. There are people who are, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep saying it, that there are people who go to work and you go and tell your boss every day, I was stuck on traffic because I was stuck on the road because of the expressway. After a while, it's going to get old. But that's the truth. That you wake up in the morning and what was there is not there anymore, and all it took was for them to say and announce it. That this is
provide clearly marked and labeled alternatives. I think
this is what is going to happen come Monday morning, come Saturday morning. This is what we're going to continue doing. So plan accordingly, and.
It would be possible, for example, this morning to have gotten a lot of the traffic coming towards town onto the southern bypass.
True.
If you're going towards, just get onto the southern bypass.
Use the southern bypass. How about an announcement like that 2 days in advance? You can do something like that.
We've been talking about innovation, haven't we? And looking at how Kenyans are constantly coming up with wonderful new ways of making our lives easier and better.
Yeah.
And I think on the negative side, many government institutions also come up with innovations of subverting the very plans that they have in place. Because if you look at, say, start with the scandal of the Aurora and Kimarar Dam, those things were planned for.
Yep.
There were details of what should be done.
Yep.
And what then did we see? People were buying towels for the dam.
For the project.
For the project. Here we have a road. Everyone acknowledges it. It's a beautiful thing. We've seen what the bypasses have done. They're wonderful things. But now, with all the planning, all you keep hearing is anything but a following of those plans. It's an abrogation of it.
Yeah.
So it looks like these institutions seem to have determined that their contribution to innovation is to subvert everything that can actually work. How can this be a discussion almost every other day? And it's not because of just, it's frustration.
Yeah,
You're
it's a lot
wondering,
of frustration.
There are simple things that could be done. Why can't they do them?
You know, I think, because you look at Kenya from both sides of the spectrum. From the side of designing and implementing a road project, and then from the side of after completion of a road project. Because what we are talking about here is at the design and implementation stage, when they're actually doing the road. It appears like the engineers think they're doing a road in a controlled environment, in a lab. As long as I'm wearing my gloves and I'm wearing my goggles and I'm wearing all my protective gear and I'm in a lab,
I'm good.
Then it's okay. This thing can explode, it's fine. And I'm in a controlled environment. They forget that there are other people who are actually road users, who are using a road. When you are working on the road users have not stopped using. You have not closed the road. You have not stopped people from needing to use that road. At every part of the country, when you're constructing a road, there are road users, there are motorists, there are people who are non-motorized road users, and they don't consider them. And that's why you see all this pain during implementation. However, after a road is completed, you also have to look back and say, Kenya roads are actually good roads when they're done. Because you just think about the smoothness of the roads. Just think about, between Machakos Junction and Maimahiu Junction, that is one long stretch of hell. But on both sides, good roads. Going towards Mombasa, good road. Get to Emali, branch off, go towards Oloitoktok.
Good road.
Smooth road up to Tarakea border. They are working on the other one that goes up to Taveta. From Holili, Taveta, to Voi, smooth, sweet road. Come this other side. From Maimahiu, branch off, going to Maimahiu, go to Narok, go to Kisii, go all the way to Isibania. Smooth road. This other side, go to Nakuru, go to Totare in Mau Summit, branch off, go towards Kericho, Kisumu, Busia.
Get to Salga and keep going upwards.
Beautiful.
Nice road. Lovely to travel on.
But
go to Eldoret. You go all the way to the border at, where is it? Malaba.
Yes. Good road.
Good road. Get go towards Turkana. Smooth road. When the roads are done, lovely.
There's a section though on that Turkana road. I don't know that they've repaired
They're still working on that road.
I don't know. It's a very small section, but the problem is the road is so bad that even bandits understood it was bad.
Yep.
So they would lay in wait and waylay travelers on that particular road.
Yep.
And you ask, but this small section, you've completed all this. Why can't you just complete this one?
I don't know, they're doing some bridges and all.
You know, Eric, there's a problem here. And I think it's what is often chalked down as competing interest. Meaning, these are all qualified people who know what to do. The plans they already have. But there are other interests that seem to compete unfavorably with the actual completion of these projects. We're told that they've pushed the timelines and they want to finish this road in a shorter time. So? So what? Engineering is about solutions.
Yep.
You know, this is a precise science, by the way. It's not a hit and miss thing. No. You know, if you do this, this happens. If you put this, they know.
They know.
So why are we having to deal with this constantly moving goalposts?
And I think it's because of that. It's that attitude that, you know what, because you're going to be able to look and appreciate the end product. And so this is it, that they know that they do a good job at the end of the day, right? And so that's just it. Wait for the end product. Whatever happens in between here it really is not our issue. After all, like you said, we're building a road, are we not? We're trying to make it easier for you at the end of the day, are we not? So all of this in between, you're just going to have to suck it up, folks, right? You'll live at the end of the day.
And they forget.
Nobody is going to die because they sat in traffic in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening when they were going home. You will not die. This is the attitude. And at the end of the day, you will get a spectacular road that you're able to use for decades. And so this...
But in between...
but in between here... no. Why should what?
When we talk about environmental social impact assessment, it appears like you always consider just the environmental and social impact assessment after the project.
Afterwards.
Not during.
And you should be during.
Because the social impact of this during construction is huge.
Today, I think, sometimes this mathematics that
there
we
are
talk
children who are on this road and they're going to school.
Thank you. It is very important to do that, to look at, just to do the mathematics. Do you realize the people who bank on smooth flowing traffic in order to be able to do their business? We think, you just need to get from point A to B. No. There are people who are carrying perishable goods, for example. There are people who have deadlines to meet. There are people who've signed contracts and said, within this hour and this hour, you deliver this good or you deliver this service.
Yep.
There are people who are going to moderate things, who are saying, okay, I need to be at a speaking engagement at this time. You lose your livelihood. You lose an opportunity to be able to serve in the future because of this. Do you think the person who's waiting for you to deliver on the other end of the road knows that GM footbridge has come down? No.
And then
this is what I'm talking about.
There are others who really suffer. Remember when the engineers were here, I kept asking about mkokoteni users.
People who were walking. Look at it. Let me give you an example. The industries that are on the other side of Mombasa Road.
You can't cross.
Right? You can't cross. We're talking about...
They were using the bridge, the footbridge to cross.
Water, people who fill water, a majority of those industries are on the other side of this road. And there are people who use mkokotenis to ferry the goods who are coming on this side, who are going then in both directions. Today in the morning, you wake up to go and to deliver your goods. There's no road.
You're going to have to
maneuver. You can't even cross over because it has been shut down. The bridge is coming down.
Yep.
These are the things that we're talking about. How do we then continue doing business with that
persons
attitude?
with disability who, for example, are coming across from Gateway Mall and they work on this other side of the road, Standard Group and along the road. How do you cross?
You don't. This is what I'm saying. You don't. You keep
There's
walking.
no footbridge anymore.
You keep walking until you find an opening. There's no stage.
Figure yourself out.
On the other side.
Figure it out. And it's a very bad attitude.
So now I just want to look at it to see exactly what we're talking about now. The stage that used to exist at General Motors outbound, right? Today you won't get it. So my question is, where do you go? For example, people who are using public transport from Standard Group today, for example, where will you board your matatu?
Yep.
You used to board at General Motors just before the bridge. Where will you board your matatu today? Because that traffic is being diverted straight and then...
Figure yourself out. That's it. Just figure it out. So when you just rap on about Kenha, these are the things
we're talking about. These are real issues.
The end product is actually good.
Yes, but in the middle here...
Let's also focus on how you get to that end product. You're not doing it in a lab. You're doing it among people. And you're affecting them. Some good news as we look at other stories, right? Kenyan Chief Executive Officer Rebecca Miano, East African Breweries Limited CEO Jen Karuku, and Diamond Trust Bank Group Chief Executive Officer Nassim Devji have been named among the top women CEOs leading big businesses in Africa. Some good news there. They were named among a pool of top 50 women comprising of CEOs, division heads, and regional managers who run over 1,400 companies sampled by Africa.com for the definitive list of women CEOs in Africa in 2021. In a list featuring 22 CEOs from listed firms on all the African stock exchanges with a market capitalization of 16 billion shillings, Miano was ranked at position 18. The research reviewed publicly available data provided by Bloomberg. So when you look at this and you see, women at top positions like this being recognized, DTB has a woman CEO, EABL, woman CEO, KenGen, woman CEO, and they're doing good stuff.
Parliament should wake up and look at this. If it's happening in the private sector, why is it not happening in Parliament?
Why can't it happen in Parliament?
Yes.
Yeah. Private sector, see, they are a reflection of us.
They are a reflection of us. Are they really? Or are they a reflection of themselves and they want to assume that just because they're the way they are, we are also the way they are? No, I refuse. I'm not the way they are.
You do not.
No, I most certainly do not.
You're not part of them.
No.
Okay.
This persistent indecisiveness and a constant toing and froing and making decisions that nobody needs and where they're most needed, one doesn't see. No.
You refuse.
No.
Not gonna take
the
it.
fundamental role of actually being the leading lights who shine a light on that path that we need to follow as a country. And all they keep doing is dimming the light. It flickers a little bit, then it's dimmed. It flickers a little bit, then it's dimmed. And then you're telling us to put up with it because they are us.
Right, you're on the edge of your seat hoping that the lights will actually come on.
Remember when you talked about the governor of Kericho County and the company called James Finley?
Yes.
And the workers there?
Yes.
So, former Finley tea workers are moved to the Scottish court over injuries. Over 500 former employees of James Finley Company in Kericho County have filed a case in Scotland seeking damages for some injuries while on duty. Musculoskeletal injuries. The case was filed in Scotland on September 29th by human rights focused law firm Ronald Konyango Advocates and its Scottish agents Thomson Solicitors. According to court documents, the 570 former workers claim their injuries arose from unsafe working practices and conditions in the company. Court submissions by the solicitors and signed by the partner claim up to 1,300 present and former employees could join the group proceedings. In the court documents, it's alleged their loss and injuries were caused by the company's negligence. Another one of those where Kenyans are actually taking court cases against their private institutions, the countries where they are initially registered or where the majority shareholder is based.
That is good. It is good because it then forces the standards that are upheld in that parent company's country to actually be applied to our workers here. Because the reason why these things happen is because they're double standards.
Yes.
If that tea was being grown in Scotland, do you really imagine that they would do the things that they're doing? And the answer is no. And yet, it is expected of them to be able to do the same. Remember, in the West, if the product, the produce that you trade in is grown or is developed under conditions that are considered inhumane, people boycott your product.
Indeed.
The product itself should not find its way in the market.
No, it shouldn't.
Whether
it is clothing, whether it is foodstuff.
Albonya Kwara says there should be an environmental impact assessment test before and during the construction of a road. While Peter Jr. is telling us that the new GM bridge is being used. So that's where the diversion is. You get onto the new bridge across the railway. But see, did you know this when you were waking up this morning?
You find out.
No, how many other people know this? Let's start there.
Figure yourself out as you
once
come.
you got on it.
Yeah. So you're stuck on Mombasa Road coming towards town. Let's just know how the road situation is. We'll be looking at the traffic shortly after the news. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Agnes ODM leader Raila Odinga today returns to Mount Kenya region in his efforts to climbing the mountain through a series of meetings in the eastern part of Mount Kenya. Raila will hold several meetings in Meru County. Raila last week took his Azimio la Umoja campaigns to North Rift and Isiolo counties, where he maintained his narrative of giving grants of 6,000 shillings to the vulnerable among Kenyans. This as Deputy President William Ruto camps in the Coast region for the sixth day today, as he similarly seeks to popularize his last land narrative in a region largely thought to be Odinga's stronghold. Now, leaders from the volatile Kerio Valley are asking the government to quell the violence in the area. The leaders, including Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Alex Tolgos, now want President Uhuru Kenyatta to visit the area. the area has experienced cattle rustling and death of innocent people.
We have lost over 3,000 people. We are talking of young, energetic, intelligent people who are very innovative and creative.
If teachers cannot report in school by 6, then they'll be reporting by 11. People should be reporting school at 11. How will syllabus covering be done?
We all agree that there are some specific regions that needed to be installed with police stations, like Dira in Tiati. We also agree that they need to increase the number of security officers in that area. But up to now, we are not seeing that being implemented.
The bodaboda operators in Matungulu, Machakos County have been asked to be vigilant following the increase in road accidents. The call was made by the chairman of the attendants, Joel Mwendwa, following the accident that took place last night where a motorcycle collided head-on with the private car, where one of the attendants and these passengers sustained serious injuries. Sorry about that. We move on. The two, together with the driver of the vehicle, are being treated at Kanguru Hospital as investigations of the cause of the accident continues. Now, Kenya has paid 238.9 billion shillings over the past 3 months, a debt owed to various nations. According to a statement from the Ministry of Finance, by the end of this year, Kenya will have managed to pay a total of 955.6 billion shillings. If the target is met, the rate will be short of 213.5 billion shillings compared to 1.17 trillion shillings owed by Kenya. In addition, Kenya's debt will be 8.7 billion shillings by June next year if we continue to pay without delay. Now, 90% of inmates and prison staff in Lamu, Tana River and Kilifi counties have been vaccinated against COVID-19. However, vaccination activities are underway in some prisons in those counties, which are still between 60 to 70%. In Malindi prison, so far, more than 60% of inmates and staff have been vaccinated, and it is expected that by Friday this week, 100% will have been vaccinated. Statistics from the Ministry of Health in Kilifi County show that to date, a total of 2,317 cases of COVID infections have been reported in prisons. 315 of them are for prisoners, while only 2 are for workers. Vaccination of prisoners and prison staff was officially launched 2 weeks ago by the Interior Ministry. Now, Ali Habi Ali, the son of an ex-media advisor to a former Prime Minister of Somalia, has been arrested by British police under anti-terrorism laws following the killing of lawmaker David Amis. Amis, 69 years old, from Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party, was knifed repeatedly as he met constituency voters in a church on Friday in Leigh-on-Sea, east of London. The killing took place 5 years after the murder of Joe Cox, a lawmaker from the opposition Labour Party, and has prompted a review of politician security. Police said they had arrested a 25-year-old British man at the scene on suspicion of murder and have said it is believed he acted alone. To sports, and AFC Leopards on the hard-fought point from a barren draw against a wasteful KCB in the Football Kenya Federation Premier League match at Thika Municipal Stadium. Leopards will thank their defence for their point, with goalkeeper particularly pulling several impressive stops to deny the home side who finished runners-up last season. Coach Patrick Osim's side was buoyed by the 1-0 win over Tusker in the season opening weekend and were coming up against the KCB side who lost to Gor Mahia FC in the previous round. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
All right, still continuing on Mombasa Road this morning, and that's where we are looking at things today. Getting to Cabanas looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a headache than previously anticipated. Quite a lot of traffic in and outbound today. As you get to General Motors, you will be diverted. Apparently, there are marshals to show you which way you should be going. But it doesn't look good, guys. Taking an hour plus to get between the Way Bridge and Cabanas on Mombasa Road today. We're looking at extended traffic also on Gong Road, in and outbound for the first time in a long time. Aerodrome Road then connecting from Langata Road, getting onto the Huru Highway today, as you then approach Haile Selassie Avenue. So Haile Selassie is taking on some traffic today, and that's in both directions, coming off Landis at the Kamkunji roundabout, and then also coming off Uhuru Highway, and then also traffic coming on from Gong Road. This is probably the maddest Monday we've seen in a long time, but there's traffic everywhere you look today. So what is it going to need? It's going to need a lot of patience and you to be as careful as possible, folks. Let's try and apply that today. Talk to us, however, on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's chat on 40127 via text. Try to keep things moving while sane this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only
7
way
after
to
8.
start
Good
your
morning.
day.
How are you doing? It's the 18th day of October 2021. 2 days to Mashujaa Day in the Republic of Kenya. We are live on SpiceFM, live on SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And today, City Muga has a Kalenjin proverb.
Kalian, that's how it is written. Tan, negilichi, kiptome, tirin.
Kalian, Tan,
Tanya, T-A-N-Y, Tanya. Negilichi, kiptome, tirin.
Okay.
Yes.
It's mean what?
The troublesome cow is that cow which compels the owner to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures.
Troublesome is the cow that compels the owner to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures. Okay.
One could say patient is the owner.
Yes.
Who follows. Or careless is the owner who doesn't
Who
find
allows cow
yes, who
to
doesn't
wander in search
or
of
doesn't
greener
find
pasture.
green pastures for
Cow.
Or who doesn't lead the cow to green pastures.
That is appropriately said.
Buda kabisa. Buda kabisa. So we're being led to green pastures next year, right? By our leaders, those who are seeking the top position in the country. And of course, not just those ones, even those that are seeking other executive positions across the 47 counties are all telling us the same thing. You know, if you give me the opportunity, this is what I'm going to do for you in this county. If you give me the opportunity to go and represent you, I will make sure that these are the services that you receive from the government that you contribute taxes to. Those that are seeking positions of presidency, for example, what are they promised us? Me, I'm waiting. 6,000 shillings, it's only going for the people
Those who are in need.
In need.
You're not in need? You're not vulnerable.
How do we define that?
That's a good question.
6,000 bob every month to the vulnerable families from Raila.
Yes. Every month forever.
But you know, you asked the question, Eric. Those who are considered vulnerable have long been documented. We know them, they're in the database.
Okay.
Those who are elderly are known, they're in the database.
Right.
Now, maybe with COVID, the numbers have increased. So those who are vulnerable are more than they were last year or the year before.
Yes.
And those who now fall in the category of elderly have also increased because if they haven't died, it means they've just gotten older and they exist. But we have a fairly clear estimate of those who fall into the category of those who are vulnerable.
We have a rough estimate.
Yes, we do.
Because currently, as we speak, we have more people who are vulnerable than previously. 12 counties are facing food shortage. There are vulnerable families in those 12 counties
vulnerable.
who need not just food, but they need everything else.
That's right.
They don't have livelihood, so they cannot even afford to buy food. They cannot afford to buy clothes. They cannot afford to take their children to school. If you don't have an income, how are you paying school fees? But what we're focusing on now is just giving them food. Don't forget that. Put that on ice. However, the promise is 6,000 shillings.
They're quite a number.
That is just one, with many other promises. The Deputy President is promising a bottom-up economic revolution in the country that is going to address and make sure that every person has access to opportunities. And you can take these opportunities to the bank and cash them and live a better life.
But there's a rider
to
all of this. When I become president,
Or
if you elect me president, should I then represent the country in presidential status? That is when I will do these things. Now, I realize the importance of doing them, and while I'm in a position of influence or power currently, I don't see it fit to be able to carry this out right now. It is only when I be given this position that I will be able to do this. Should I take on the presidency, that's when I'll do this. I'm going to quote from what the Deputy President said. According to him, every constituency will have a 120 million shilling fund to cushion traders against who? Shylocks and online lenders who reportedly threaten the growth of businesses. When you elect me president in next year's general election, I will allocate this money in a special constituency fund to help small and medium traders grow their businesses. They will not be harassed by Shylocks. He also pledged to create employment for the 4 million unemployed youth with certificates, diplomas and degrees so that they can also contribute to economic development. I will create this if I form the next government. He claimed that unemployment was to blame for widespread crime and drug abuse across the country and promised to tackle the menace immediately he wins next year. Whew, okay. That was him. Now, somebody else who's running for president. Orange Democratic Movement presidential hopeful Jimmy Wanjigi has promised to implement the National Social Security Act if elected. He said the act required the government to assist unemployed Kenyans financially. He dismissed the 6,000 shillings that you're waiting for, Eric, as the monthly stipend to all unemployed Kenyan adults. Oh, this is all unemployed Kenyan adults. So, you still have an opportunity. He says if Raila is elected president, that is unrealistic. He said that it is not economically healthy for a debt-ridden country. Were he to implement such a program, the country would spend 300 billion shillings per year on the same. But what he's saying is that if you implement the Social Security Act, what you do essentially is that you create a framework through which the people of the country can always have something to lean on.
Okay,
kind of like social security.
So it's all right. So what does implementation of the Social Security Act have?
So what it does
it give people money or does it give people food? What
it does is that it requires government then as duty and responsibility to assist unemployed Kenyans.
Oh, it compels the government to assist Kenyans.
Yes.
The Constitution already does that. Does Jimmy Wanjigi know this?
What he has said is that should you elect him president, what he's going to do is make sure that act is put in place.
Okay. He'll action the Constitution. Article 43.
Right. He's not the only one who made promises.
Right.
Yesterday, we heard from presidential hopeful Raila Odinga, and he said he is pledging to help more families. So there's the 6,000 shillings that will go to each family of every adult Kenyan, right? Now, he has also said that the families of Mau fighters will get land, right? He said that they should acquire this land, which they've not been able to get so far, right?
So there's a piece of land that families of Mau fighters have been wanting to acquire.
In Laikipia.
They've identified it.
And they have some money, but they don't have
They have raised some cash.
They've raised 60 million shillings.
Right.
They need some more to be able to get this. He's promised that he's going to help them get the rest of this money. He's also...
So basically what is he saying? The government is going to buy the land to top up.
By virtue of the fact that they're Mau fighters and their descendants.
So is it something he's going to do in the not too distant future?
When he becomes president, if he's elected, he will do this.
Okay.
But what he will do now is that he will assist Dedan Kimathi's widow to buy the house that she currently resides in. Okay? In Komarok.
What is assist? Do a harambe, be the guest of honor? What does that mean? He'll give his money.
It's possible.
He'll talk to his brother.
Okay. I will talk to the current government. Now, this is about the land.
Okay.
I will talk to the current government to support them get the land. And if they can't do it, my government will do so when he becomes president next year.
Okay.
All right. He said, when I was prime minister, I petitioned the British government to compensate Mau descendants for the atrocities committed and also apologize. They apologized and even offered to build a monument at the Freedom Corner, a testimony of struggle and independence. So what he's basically telling you here is that I've got some persuasion power right? I can do this. So now, imagine what I will be able to do when I am president. Right now, I can speak to the current government.
Oh,
but
so
when I
Raila
am
is the one who made the Mau Mau guys get some money. I thought it was William Day and the Mau Mau themselves.
No.
Okay.
It was him.
It was Raila who petitioned the...
So now
Okay.
he's saying, because of the struggle, that Mau Mau fighters actually went through to deliver Kenya as it is today, come on. The president, the country of the government of the day should have been able to do something, but they've not been able to. I'm going to talk to the government and see what they can do. Should it not happen in the next 9 months?
Give me the job.
I'll do it for you.
I'll do it for you. I will deliver.
Right.
It's
how there is
election
work-
silly season again,
Yes, it is.
where we are promised heaven every single day, and somebody just comes with a nice paintbrush, blank canvas, and tells you, paint your picture of heaven.
How do you want it to look like?
Yeah. That thing that you've painted, I'm going to give it to you. Just rub the lamp 3 times. Genie comes out. 3 wishes.
As you wish, they will be granted unto you.
Ah.
Wouldn't it be great if it was that easy?
But why it... Okay, let me just...
Take a minute.
So first of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that we are having a conversation that is, seeming to drive us in a certain direction in terms of saying these are the needs of Kenyans at present, and this is how I seek to address the needs of Kenyans at present. Taking that conversation towards, the economic needs of the country. It's a good start. However, I feel that none of these leaders is actually telling us the how. And also, it's not that they haven't been asked. Whenever they're asked how, they say, no, wait for my manifesto. That is going to be in my February next year, I am launching. That's around the time that they start releasing their manifestos. February, April, March. I am going to give you the how. For now, I'm just giving you, what is it called? Goals, objectives that are measurable, that I can say, now, I will give you this, and this is how I'm going to do it. I will release that next year. But all these promises and the way they're being made, it's just the same promises that have been made before. It's same promises that we've heard before from the same leaders who are coming and telling us, this is what we want, I'm going to do for you, should I become president. When the deputy president says, it is because the national leadership has failed, that we need something different. You ask yourself, what exactly are you saying?
You have failed.
Because in the same breath, the deputy president will brag about the work that they have done. In the first 5 years of the Jubilee administration, all the work that we did, and claiming all the credit for all the work that they did. And then the things that have gone wrong, he wants to establish distance between here and Moyale with those failures.
Moyale is actually near. I thought you might have mentioned Timbuktu.
No, I don't want to get out of the border. I want to remain within Kenya.
A reasonable boundary.
Just within the country. In fact, let's start with that border in Kwale to Tanzania. What's it called? You know the one I'm saying?
I know the one you're saying.
Yes. You know the one I'm saying? The border in Kwale County, border with Tanzania, and then go all the way to Marsabit County, border with Ethiopia. Ruto is in Kwale. Problems are in Moyale. Distance.
He also is in a lab.
Distance. But he says, should you give me the job to be the president next year, I will make sure that I deliver. The former prime minister is offering the same. Now, the question that you ask yourself is, what do they think? What do they think of us? When they're giving us all these promises, are they thinking that we actually have forgotten? Are they thinking that we have forgotten what they told us just barely 4 years ago? Are they thinking that we've forgotten what they were supposed to do when they had the opportunity to do it?
You know, one of the things about these campaigns that we hear of and the rhetoric that follows and the narratives that accompany them is that a lot of them are based on falsehoods. For instance, when somebody tells you that they have an economic model called a bottoms-up, there is actually no such thing. Meaning, economic models are known. So unless somebody comes up with
their own.
Yes. That's first. Secondly, economic models, by their very nature, are based on assumptions. Now, what you hear is a description. When somebody says it's a bottom-up, it's a description of a certain economic model. But the thing about the mathematical nature of economic models is that you must be able to explain in detail how exactly it's going to work. It's a 1 + 1 = 2 situation. And if you add 3 to it, it becomes 5. Okay? One must show you. Now, because it has to be based on facts, have you heard anyone who's campaigning who's telling you, when I have gone around the country and I've spoken to the people, this particular area, their greatest need has been this. Now, what we plan to do to ensure that we allay these, this is what we are going to do. Okay? Telling us that you want to give more money to the counties makes sense. Telling us that you want to give more money to MCAs makes sense. MPs makes sense. However, divorce that discussion from talking about economic models, because the moment you bring in the story of economic models, you brought in a completely new discussion which none of these leaders are actually discussing. Okay? That's one. Secondly, as Eric puts it, literally everything we are being told is in the Constitution. Literally. So, do you hear them saying, this is in the Constitution, and we have implemented it thus far up to this particular stage. Now, we'd like to push this thing. Let's start with Chapter 6, because a lot of our problems with corruption has to do with Chapter 6. And it was bastardized somewhere along the line by our National Assembly. I want to, beginning now, to champion it by using the people who are in my party to rectify this Chapter 6 so that leaders can actually be accountable to the citizens who are the owners of this particular country. Have you had that conversation?
Nope.
Because if you don't enact Chapter 6, all this is a complete waste of time.
Stories.
Because you will start it, it won't get completed. And you will not be able to hold these people accountable. Because what Chapter 6 was done away with as it was purposed. Do you hear any of the leaders telling you that, folks, given the natural resources that we have in terms of A, B, C, D, the economic plan we have to ensure that the entire country is self-sufficient in food, this is how we are going to channel it. We already have existing institutions within government that do A, B, C, D. Now, this is what we're going to do to make them work. In the agricultural sector, this is what we're going to do. Areas that have a mining sector, because they produce this but they don't do farming, this is what we're going to do. Who is talking about connecting these things so that the Monanchi actually benefits? You don't hear a single thing.
You know, Sisi, actually, you're right. Because you cannot tell people that you're going to do something without telling them how you're going to do it. Because unless there is that clear, and remember what we talk about communication. Communication is not just you spouting something. Communication means that it has reached the intended and it has been understood, and they can do what? They can then give you feedback. That's how you say that the communication process is complete. And I'm going to liken it to something that you may see as extremely simple, but it actually works. When this whole COVID business happened and school transport said, what we're going to do is that we're going to make sure we decongest the buses, right? And we are going to make sure that everybody still gets to school, but there will be social distancing. They could have left it at that, isn't it? They could have left it at that and said, first, everybody's going to get to school. We're going to decongest the buses, period. Now, you could have come to find out that if you had a family where there were different age groups of children, that you're not quite sure how they were going to get to school. But what did they do? They went on further to provide you with a schedule. And they said, those children who needed to be at school earlier would be picked up earlier, and we would maintain social distancing on the buses, right? The younger children then would be picked up at a later time. So you knew, this is okay. This was the principle. This was the action. This is how it was going to happen, so that you could then make a decision. Do I still want to continue using this school transport and have my children wake up earlier, and how are we going to be able to benefit? Or are we going to say, no, I'll find my way? But it was clearly demonstrated how this was going to happen. You cannot come and throw something at people that touches on their daily operation and say, yes, if you elect me, this is what I'm going to do, and leave it there. You can't do that. Because, and that's why you're saying that, and I keep saying there's no regard for actually how the people of Kenya think right now, or how they feel, or how they operate. It's promises thrown at people with the expectation that they will swallow those promises once again and deal.
You ask how.
You ask how.
They will
What are
tell you
talking
the
about?
manifesto will be launched.
I'll launch a manifesto.
Now the problem is
But the
that you're launching a
nitty-gritty
manifesto.
doesn't come into play.
You will launch the manifesto in that February, March, and it'll attempt to have the nitty-gritty. And it'll say, oh, this is how we're going to do, this is how we're going to go about it. But if you look at the details, empty on the details.
And
one of the reasons why they'll tell you they are not releasing the manifestos now is because they do not want other people to. I mean, it's too early. You don't release a manifesto this early. I mean, people are going to copy mine. You know, it's a student who's in class and they know the ideas that they have are exactly the same as the idea that the opponent has. So I just want my language to appear different. I don't want to launch mine before the other one does, because that guy is going to copy my work. Look, if you have a plan to deliver, and you come out to town and say, this is what I want to do, and this I'm going to deliver it. Everybody else who comes after you will basically be copying. If I've understood that you came up with a plan first, anybody else who comes with it, I'll be like, yeah. Ruto is now complaining that Baba has taken up his bottom-up approach. Jimmy Wanjege is complaining that Baba is using now that economic revolution conversation. That's because you went to town with it first. And so you can claim, I started talking about this a long time ago. Why are you saying the same thing I've been saying? If you had that idea, you should have started with it. If I'm the one who's been saying, you know what, we've had the first independence revolution, we had the second liberation of the country politically, now the third one is going to be the economic liberation of the country. I started that conversation and I'm explaining how I'm going to deliver on it. Then you're clearly ahead. You can't say, oh, now, I can't tell you exactly how I'm going to deliver that economic revolution because they are going to copy.
Give me the presidency first. Who do you think you're hoodwinking? And this is the thing. So on one side, do you really expect that Kenyans are not going to ask questions about how this thing is going to open up? Or do you not bother with how they think and thinking that you can tell Kenyans, it's okay. Once you give me the presidency, that's when I'm going to explain to you. To whom do you think you are speaking at this point? Really? When you should be able to say the how, you should be able to tell, this is exactly how we're going to do it. This is what currently exists in the country. This is what I've done before to show that this is actually something that is viable. Without all that, it's dead in the water. Dead in the water, folks. And I look, it's the same attitude that you see everywhere. Look at your roads this Monday morning where nobody feels as though they need to explain to you what exactly is going on. Take it and escalate it to the presidency, to the hopeful presidential candidates. They don't feel they need to explain to you how these things are going to work. Attitude, you'll be stuck in traffic, you'll be stuck in retrogressive development for the next 10 years.
You know, when people talk about economic modeling and they talk about so-called, essentially, a lot of what you hear are supposed economic processes. Do you hear anyone telling you, right, there's this pipeline we're building from Lamu, and it's supposed to go blah, 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 and get to Turkana and what have you. Because, we actually do have oil there. We figured this out. Do you have anybody telling you about the coal we are supposed to have in the Ukambani area? Do you have anyone telling you about the iron ore in Taita Hills? These are resources we have, not we think we have. We actually have.
Exploiting the resources that we have.
The resources.
Do you hear anybody telling you that, given what we have, this particular ministry that deals with these things, in order for A, B, C, D to happen, and to uplift the economic welfare of the people of that region, this is what we are going to do. We want to make sure that everything that is produced, this percentage goes to those people to help balkanize whatever facility the government gives them as a stimulus for their county. Do you hear that conversation? No. In fact, a conversation about natural resources is so quiet to the point where you'd think we don't have any natural resources.
We are resource poor.
It's silence on all fronts. And yet, it full steam ahead. People are working in those industries.
Sure. And the conversations are coming from people who want to rule and lead this country.
The people.
So, if we listen to what they're not telling us, what are they not telling us?
Let's take this break then. It's 8:30. How are you doing on Mombasa Road or other roads in the country? Let's take that break and find out. And also, we'd like to pick your calls after this. So we are in that season. We are receiving all these political promises and pledges from all political leaders. You've heard what the Deputy President is promising. You've heard what Raila Odinga is promising. You've heard what the others are promising. Jimmy Wanjege with his political campaign. Which of them do you believe and why? Let's hear from you. 0719 012 600. We are live on SpiceFM, KTN Home and online. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
I know you're in a society where men have become very lazy. They have made people's daughters become mamafuas. You know mamafua? Yes. That you come to a man's house, maybe you went out or you've come for a weekend. You find all his shirts in his laundry basket. Yeah. He was waiting for you to
come and
are you his wife? Including his inner garments.
Right, yeah.
Ladies, stop doing that.
Let me
Those are wifely duties, and even some wives don't
That's
do them.
literally what I was about to say. I was like, there's even some wives who refuse to do that.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840.
Forgiveness is always conditional. Even before God, there's nothing like unconditional forgiveness.
Government doesn't pay you pension until you retire. In fact, they have no money for you. The day you retire, they look for it. This country is punishing many young people.
These young people are more susceptible to be deceived, to be taken advantage of, and they're more susceptible to be bought off.
Let us also talk about where we want our country to go. We are a population of very young people.
We're in a state of capture. The judiciary is under duress. Parliament is in the pocket of the executive. You don't sit and wait for the regime to topple itself. It will never do so.
By the way, let me tell you, these guys are so persuasive. I'm telling you, they can persuade you to sell your grandmother. I'm telling you, they can sell sand in the desert.
Say, has anybody on this program said to you as a guest, say, "Oh, shut up, we don't want to be told what to do"? Has you ever that kind of? Has anybody been
I will not listen.
Bit of advice, because you're working on the premise that we should all pay heed to these proverbs. It's a very suspect nation.
The weather with Spice
FM. 19 highs of 26 and lows of 15, and into Nakuru 18 degrees and cloudy, sunny rather, highs of 27 and lows of 16. As 15 will be the low in Nyeri, where it's mostly sunny at 17, highs of 26. In Eldoret, mostly cloudy conditions at 17, highs of 25 and lows of 14. It continues to rain in some parts of Mombasa at 27, highs of 30 and lows of 24, while in Malindi it's cloudy at 28, highs of 30 and lows of 25. Not to forget Eldoret, where it's mostly cloudy at 17, highs of 25 and lows of 14. Kisumu is sunny at 22, we'll see lows of 19 and highs of 29, and in Kakamega 23 degrees and sunny, highs of 29 and lows of 15. All right, into Kampala it's mostly sunny at 22, highs of 27 and lows of 19, while in Dar es Salaam, sunny conditions at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 23. Joburg is cloudy at 10, highs of 22 and lows of 9. Rain showers continue in Lagos at 24. That'll be today's low, going to highs of 31. Sunny conditions through Kinshasa at 24, highs of 32 and lows of 23. That's what it looks like for now.
Spice and everything nice. All right.
Spice up your life.
All right, still continuing. We have a lot of folks having to use the train this morning because public service vehicles have nowhere to come from. Looking at the stage at General Motors is a bit dodgy this morning. All right, all through the city, we're looking at massive traffic. In the CBD, all roads lead to the CBD, coming off Uhuru Highway, Jogo Road, and through to Landis at Kamkunji. We're looking at it coming from the Thika Superhighway, which is still, incidentally, very heavy this morning, and spilling over from Outer Ring, which has taken off a lot of traffic from Mombasa Road this morning. We're also looking at Ngong Road, still quite heavy. Looking into Westlands, Major traffic here. The Red Hill Link Road will give you some options to get out of the city. Gong Road also jam-packed. Langata Road, that's a whole other story. The Southern Bypass has taken on more traffic than we've seen in weeks today. Mombasa Road, let's just close our eyes for at least a moment. And hopefully when we blink, it'll get a little bit better. But for now, it's hot and heavy and it's a crazy Monday. Where are you stuck? Will you let us know? Where did you find a good route? Let us know that as well, and we can swap stories, at least for now. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40127.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Biggest conversation continues. This is the Situation Room on Spice FM. In the room this and every weekday morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is CT Muga Ndu Okoh and Eric Latiff. We're talking about political promises. Politicians are going around the country now. Basically, it's campaign season and they're making all manner of promises. 120 million shillings fund to be established by the Deputy President should he become president. This is to be distributed to each constituency to cushion traders, small traders, against unscrupulous Shylocks, and also to just help them access finance. 4 million youth to be employed. The former Prime Minister is saying, I will deal with the vulnerable in this society. Currently, the government is giving about 2,000 shillings a month to especially the elderly people. The former Prime Minister says, no, 6,000 shillings.
Sounds more like it.
Plus other promises. Which of these promises do you find to be realistic? Do you find any of the political promises that you're hearing from our political leaders to be realistic? If yes, which one? Let us know. 0719-012-600. Some minor says, our leaders have a good track record of not keeping promises that they never deliver. They hardly do. Nyakwera says, I think the Deputy President is promising more than he can deliver. What do you think? 0719-012-600. It's a number to call.
You know, everything that these leaders say, apart from really genuinely sounding, most of what they say as hot air, the structure that I spoke about, a structure within which you could actually implement these things. You're talking about small-scale traders, all right? Kenya Industrial Estates was set up in the previous century to do precisely this, KIE, to help businessmen, not just with the knowledge but financing, meaning you have a structure. They even had, when they called it estates, they had places where you could start your business and continue with it. And they would provide funding, they'd provide the education, and they'd provide the where-to-for that would enable you to advance. For those in the agricultural sector, we had the Agricultural Finance Corporation. An institution that did precisely that, dealt with farmers and financing of farmers. What is so difficult and by the way, they had offices all over the country. What is so difficult in reviving something that worked so that instead of saying you will give the farmers, there's an institution that
is a framework.
Yes, that can make this thing work. Do you hear that conversation taking place? No? So how are you going to implement it? We ask. And we're told we will do this. Yeah, we got that.
If they bring back that conversation about AFC, we'll ask them, so what happened to AFC? And
Precisely.
They do not want us to ask what happened to that AFC.
And we must ask.
Yep.
And we must ask.
Yep. There's AFC worked. The Planters Union worked. KGGCU worked. All these things worked.
Kenya Farmers Corporation, which was the predecessor of all this, worked.
And they were helping farmers access market.
Yes.
Worked. Now we are only talking about, now we're going to give you cash.
Even ICDC, Industrial Credit and Development Corporation, worked. So what are you telling us? We had a framework, as you correctly put it, that worked. So you now want to tell us that you want to do this without
something different.
Yeah, without a framework.
Yeah, you see, AFC was not dealing with the mwananchi wa kawaida.
Actually, it was.
It was only dealing with mkulima wa kawaida. Now we are talking about mwananchi wa kawaida ambaye anauza bidhaa reja mtaani. Let's just go to the phone lines. Hussein in Nairobi, good morning.
Morning, Eric.
How are you doing, Hussein?
Very fine. I like the idea of City talking about how the methodology of this promise are going to be met. I think that is actually what we have to look at as Kenyans.
Yeah.
I mean, the current regime, you know the kind of promises that we were given.
Yep.
We are not going to go about that.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember President Kibaki and the free secondary education, which really worked very well.
Primary.
I think free primary education?
We started with primary.
Yes. And then we went to, So I think we just need to look at the methodology, and the rest we just dismiss it as hot air. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Hussein. Lovely day. Charles in Nakuru, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Yes, I would like to make a contribution with regard to the ongoing in terms of the politicians trying to sell themselves and give us new thoughts. But the baseline is they failed the trust test. For example, when you look at the issue of universal health care, as we expect them to be able to look at what would benefit the country and the people. And one of the things is people to access quality health care and affordable health care. They can easily talk about it, but the commitment is not there. And you can hear, as they go around, they are still talking of the same thing. Yet the pilot activities in regard to universal health care, like in Nyanza, some parts of Nyanza and other counties, is not working out. They are not telling us how is it progressing. Secondly, you may hear in every other campaign, they talk of youth and they allocate funds. Like Uwezo Fund, for example. And somewhere along the way, you hear that it has been misused. And you wonder now, where do we start? Because nobody is taken to court to account for that. Finally, I would like to pick... Yes?
Go ahead.
Yeah, finally, I would like to pick an issue in regard to we Kenyans. When you look at us, we are a bit exhausted with the lies of the politicians. We don't take them to account. When it comes to election, we'll elect them as rotten as they are. And by the end of the day, we start crying. You look at the way they go around doing stuff and trying to market themselves. If you are an analytical person, you discover whatever they are doing politically is not adding value to our lives. They are just trying to sugarcoat themselves. Me, I expect a politician in this era to be accountable, to sign a commitment, to say, if I don't do this, I should leave. That is what we want to hear. It's not like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do, and then we are just clapping all along. I think those years should be gone by now. For me, we should be trying to find ways of making politicians
holding them accountable to the promises that they make.
Exactly.
That's true. Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you.
Asante sana. Pidgin in Utawala, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Eric?
Very well, thank you.
How is City and Ndu?
We are very well, thank you, brother. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, it has been long, at least. Indeed.
It has.
Today that you've chosen that to discuss about these agendas or manifesto of these other guys, I'm still waiting for a day. Maybe I'll discuss my manifesto too. But you see, the problem is the economy, because now we are running a huge budget that you cannot support. And they're not able to explain to us how their manifesto can either help us reduce the burden we are having, or is it going to add the burden? Because I think that we must move from manifestos to leaders telling us how much is their manifesto going to cost us, instead of coming with manifestos that at least will increase our budget and increase our debt. So that's one thing that is missing. But another thing is that these are the same people who have promised us several things that have not fulfilled. whatever they are saying is good. Some are not necessary, but they are good. But the issue is, are they really going to do it? What miracle is going to take place that will change Ruto or Raila to be another person to implement this? And that's what Kenyans are lacking, trust in their leaders. And that's why, to me, I will say that even as I go for this seat, I'm not too much of which ideas need to be implemented. The ideas that need to be implemented in this country were there even by our founding fathers, but they have never been implemented up to date. We need a leader who can treat this country equally before we go equitably. Because we need to have one hospital in Mandera in a ward, the same hospital in Kisumu in a ward, so that each country, first of all, might be equally in terms of resources before we talk of equitability. But when you move to equitability, when other countries don't have even the basic or other counties don't have the basic, it's a serious problem. So we need a leader who can see this country holistically, not a regional-based leader, whereby each country or each part of this county can feel that they are part of this country. So as I say, this is the same song sung by the same guys, but one thing they're lacking today or moving forward is the trust.
That's very
and
true.
they're taking advantage of us, the disparate people. I think the government must be a proportional representative government, whereby the majority young people, majority women, majority poor people must be part of government, because you cannot have 10 teachers teaching 2 students. We must have more of the students than teachers. So if you have to move together, let the majority of those who are able, in fact, of those who are older a bit, those who are financially stable a bit, be less in representing those who are poor and those who are young and those women. So I think there's a need for proportional representation in our governance. But I look forward to our day. Maybe I'll have another conversation with you and maybe share also what I have for this country. Okay?
The day will come. Thank you very much, Pidgin. 0719-012-600. You know, Transparency International did an analysis of the 2017 political party manifestos by the leading 2 political groupings. That was the Jubilee Party and NASA coalition. So, 10 key things you should know about the Jubilee Manifesto in 2017. They were talking about employment, health, transparency and accountability. They talked about social protection, apprenticeship, education, food security, housing, energy. Okay? Guiding principles. 1, transform lives through education, healthcare and housing. 2, transform society through governance, cohesion, security, devolution. 3, transform the nation through economy, agriculture, foreign relations, infrastructure. Now, among the things that we're going to do, 1, digitization of services, government services. 2, expand judicial capacity. 3, increase penalty to jail term for economic crimes. 4, reduce the timelines for economic crimes cases review to 6 months. Publish annual reports on all government procurement projects. Mandatory training for all public officers, and reduce misuse of public resources and make 1 trillion shilling savings by 2020.
We're in 2020.
Okay, let me continue. They committed to increase the allocation for research and development to document lessons learned through devolution, strengthen intergovernmental technical relations. They also committed to reduce wastage and utilization of public resources, introduce key performance indicators and set penalties, finalize implementation of the state corporation reforms. That was the one that was, looking at all the state parastatals and others and seeing how you can go about it. Well, our hand is being forced by the World Bank. Harmonization of remuneration and benefits of the entire public sector. All those things were promised by Jubilee.
Okay.
NASA, 6 points. Nation building, national identity, national values, historical injustices, extrajudicial killings. Look at governance, look at realizing social and economic rights. That's dignity to everyone. Article 43, social justice, employment, eradication of poverty. State building, that's devolution. Regional and international cooperation, among the things that were promised by the NASA manifesto. See, they had things that they were telling us to do. Those same things, as they said, are the same things that they're telling us today.
So essentially, the things that they said they were going to do, they did not.
Yes.
The only reason why you would come and tell a population of people that promises that are repetitive in nature is very clear. That you failed to keep the previous ones. That the things that you said you were going to do, you did not do. So the very simple question is, why then should I believe you when you come round knocking this time, telling me the same things that I had been told 5 years ago, which you clearly didn't do? What kind of eureka moment have you had to realize that things that didn't happen in the past will suddenly somehow morph into reality now. You didn't do them before. And for me, it's very simple. You didn't do them before. What guarantee do I have that you're going to do them
That you can
now?
do them.
The support structure of political leadership in this country lends itself to one, since we're talking theories, to one theory and one understanding. That the status quo must be maintained at all costs. And status quo, please take that particular phrase and expand its meaning in any direction that you want. Because how do you get to a point where you have people who've been in politics for the last God knows how many years telling you more or less a regurgitation of what you've been told before, and without any supporting evidence that anything that they have said before has actually been done, even when they are in positions of authority and they could have done. Now, it's one thing to say this is what I started and it didn't work because of this and this and this and the other. Why is there an absence of these things? Let me just give an example. I have heard mentioned by the former Prime Minister of projects that he has stated clearly, I was involved in starting this and doing this. I have also heard the Deputy President talking about infrastructure projects that they have started and completed. If you look carefully, we're talking about the same projects.
Everybody did that thing.
Yes.
Everything that has worked, everybody
We all
claims.
did it
Yes.
together.
Now, there is truth in what they say in this regard. Development projects are not 2-3 year projects. They're 10, 15, even 20-year projects. So it's a question of somebody conceptualized it, started it off, and then continued. Case in point, SGR. President Mwai Kibaki and Prime Minister Raila Odinga take credit. Yes, credit. Road network that we're talking about, credit. But then the credit also goes to those who completed the projects. That's how development works. Somebody starts it, somebody pushes it along. Somebody else is going to come up with something else. Why is it that after the successful inauguration and completion of Mbagathi Road, that one concrete road that we have, the one road we know that all these years has not required repairs, we know. This patchwork and carpeting that we see of other roads, why do you think that? My view. If you talk to engineers, civil engineers, structural engineers, they will tell you this. Something like a concrete road is like a lab experiment. It gives you certainty. And when you say it lasts 5 years, it lasts 5. If you say 10, it will be 10. If you say 15, 15. However, the road that we like lends itself to variables.
Yes.
There can be variation. It rained. The tarmac expanded.
Yes.
The road sank. The lorries were too heavy. There'll be some story. With concrete, that you cannot tell that story because it won't fly. So it is expensive, yes, but that thing lasts, my friend.
Indeed it does.
Yep.
That road lasts.
It does.
It's like our people don't like things which really last.
Of course they don't. Becky says, I think the question should now change. Instead of asking what we are asking, let's ask these clowns what they plan to do for themselves. Because, they're eyeing seats with pure self-interest. So we should be asking the politicians, all right.
What's in it for you,
So what do you want to do for you?
We've got what you want to do for us.
Don't come and tell me what you want.
We've got that one. Now, for yourself?
You, what do you want?
What do you want? Why do you want the seat? How will it help you? Okay? That's the interview should be. So how will this seat help you? Okay?
Achieve your 10-year
You
development
and your
plan.
family and your everybody. How will it help you? Now, if we see somebody who does not have ambition, we don't give them the seat.
Yeah, because they're clearly, our benefit is derived from the benefits that they also get. So if the guy has a clear list of the benefits that they hope to derive, that's the person because this person, this level of self-interest, what will eventually percolate to us will also be greater.
Yes.
The greater the self-interest,
Could also be the other way around.
There will be some crumbs that
This
fall down.
person basically wants to move from where they are right now, 100 million shillings, to 100 billion shillings.
Yes.
Which means that they are going to make sure they eat everything plus the seed.
In fact, even the things that
Somebody who tells you, well, I only need to make sure that my children finish high school and then they go to university and I can take... That's somebody you can think about. Okay.
Yeah, but the person who is telling you that actually I want my children to be able to, compete on a world level. This is somebody with ambition who they want to now consume everything, including your food for thought.
That statement, the moment they mention world level, I think everything else should be put aside. Just focus on the world level.
World level.
World level riches. So this guy It's children who are being used as the excuse because they know when somebody mentions children, we get soft-hearted and we get sentimental and we feel this person is actually thinking of the family. Really.
They're not.
Seth says, I'm honestly not in the groupthink that the promises are not realistic. Are the politicians real themselves?
Oh, they're really real.
It's 4 minutes to 9. You've been watching us from on KTN Home from the top of the hour. The conversation continues on Spice FM. Spice FM is on 94.4 in Nairobi, Mombasa 87.9, 102.5 in Kisumu, 96.0 in Nakuru, 96.7 Eldoret, Nyeri 90.9, and Malindi 97.7. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
No, this wheelbarrow, how can you give people wheelbarrow? His party symbol is an umbrella. Is he distributing umbrellas in Makueni?
Have you been told if we don't lock between 10 to 4, this is what we're saving?
You try and call them, the same person who was in your house every day, because they know you are influential and you will give them votes. Call them after 1 month and see if they'll pick up their phone.
Don't tell your member of parliament that you want him to come and build a school, you want him to come and do a hospital. That is not the work of the member. Now that we have devolution in this country, these resources should go to those devolved units.
You have to have strong, independent institutions. And you have to have police who has the right to take the biggest town in the country and question, why did you do this and that, and send them to court if necessary.
Joel in Kericho, good morning.
Salama sana Eric, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama kabisa. Mbunge wako ni nani?
Anaitwa Seriousness Martin, hapa ni Ainamoi.
Seriousness Martin, Ainamoi.
Yes. Sasa ile juma nampambia yeye nini? Amalize aende. Asante sana.
All right, it's a minute and a half to 9 o'clock. The situation continues 0719012600 or SpiceFM KE on YouTube, on Facebook and Twitter. All these political promises. No, promises being made by politicians. If you give me the opportunity to be your president next year, these are the things that I'm going to do. I am going to make sure that the Mau Mau families have access to land. I am going to make sure that the vulnerable people have some cash coming to them every month. I'm going to make sure that nobody dies of hunger in this country. It's shameful that people should be dying of hunger in this country. In this day and age, I will make sure that that's a thing of the past. I will make sure that all these young people who are all over the country who finish school, they have a certificate, they have a diploma, they have a degree, but they don't have any job opportunity, they have access to opportunities. And what will I do? I will give them money to start businesses. We have the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, forget about that one. We have the Women Fund, forget about that. I'll come up with a new fund that will make sure that the people have access to money. Because the others are not funds. Mine
will be a fund, a real one.
Will be the fund. If you're in agriculture, I will make sure that I support you in agriculture so that you can get access to fertilizer cheaply. You can get access to all farm inputs. And then your produce will be so expensive. You will be able to make money. These are the promises that I'm making to you. Do you believe any of all these promises that are being made by the politician? How can we vet them? How can the politicians get to know what we are thinking about the promises that they're making? But you see, the thing is, as you're making all this talk around here, these guys are popular. Core ground.
I'm telling you.
Shaurienu with your noise. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Newswire, I'm Dennis Asseto. ODM leader Raila Odinga today returns to Mount Kenya region in his efforts to climb the mountain through a series of meetings in the eastern part of Mount Kenya. Raila will hold several meetings in Meru County. Raila last week took his Azimio La Umoja campaigns to North Rift and Isiolo counties, where he maintained that an Odinga government will address various issues affecting Kenyans. This as Deputy President William Ruto camps in the Coast region for the 6th day today, as he similarly seeks to popularize his Asla narrative in a region largely thought to be Odinga's stronghold. Ruto has maintained that he is the best candidate for presidency and that through his presidency, should he win, he will make sure that Kenyans from the lower cadre are catered for so that they can play an important role in the country's economy. Now, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muthui has criticized ODM Chief Raila Odinga's promise to provide poor families with 6,000 shillings a month. Speaking in Kiharu in Murang'a, Muthui said that Mount Kenya residents, like other Kenyans across the country, not only want money to be handed over, but also want better economic policies. He emphasized that the promise will not end poverty, adding that the said funds will come from the taxes they pay.
Hata wakati tunasema tutafanyia wananchi hivi, tutawapatia hela ya bure ati wakae tu. Unajua mambo zingine nasikia naona kama ni ndoto. Kwa sababu hiyo ya kulipa hao wenye ambao wafanyi kazi ni nyinyi tu wenyewe mtatoa. What is important is to make a conducive environment for all of us to apply ourselves innovatively and in an industrious manner. Tunajua vijana tumeelimisha wengi, lakini tunatakiwa tufanye foundation zetu, environment yetu ya biashara iwe ni ya kufutia.
Muturi's statement is in line with that of Deputy President William Ruto, who is in recent campaigns in the Coast region criticized Raila Odinga's statement over subsidies for the vulnerable. Now, 2 days to Mashujaa Day celebrations in Kirinyaga County, and political differences are being witnessed between Interior PS Karanja Kibisho and Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. Kibisho lashed out at Waiguru, claiming that senior officials in his docket have been allocated few seats ahead of the celebrations. Despite saying that they have been cooperating with Waiguru on the preparations of the celebrations, the governor has been raising allegations aimed at tarnishing her reputation. Kibisho said that Waiguru has been mishandling officials from his ministry who have been touring the facility to supervise the progress. A few days ago, Waiguru accused Kibisho of disrespecting and for sidelining her during the preparations, arguing that the exercise was marred by political undertones. Now, the boda operators in Matungulu, Machakos County have been asked to be vigilant following the increase in road accidents. The call was made by the chairman of the attendants, Joel Mwendwa, following the accident that took place last night when a motorcycle collided head-on with a private car, where one of the attendants and these passengers sustained serious injuries.
Ningependa kuomba watu wetu wa bodaboda wakati wanatumia barabara at least wavae helmet, wavae reflective jacket, wasi overspeed kwa barabara. Maana kama ajali imetokelezea hapa hii barabara kutoka Tala kwenda Kisukione mahali panaitwa Viani, hiyo ni ajali ambayo ingeweza kuepukika, lakini kwa sababu ya ile speed huyu mwendeshaji wa pikipiki alikuwa nayo haingewezekana. Vijana wetu wengine ni mihadarati wanatumia, wengine ni walevi. Ningependa kuomba na kuwahimiza vijana wetu wa bodaboda, ulevi hakuna mahali pa kupeleka. Maana wakati umefanya ajali, kumbuka hii gari ama hii pikipiki itapelekwa katika garage, lakini mwili wako hakuna mahali utapelekwa.
The two, together with the driver of the vehicle, are being treated at Kangundo Hospital as investigations on the cause of the accident continues. Investigations are underway to determine the reasons behind the collapse of a 9-story building under construction at OJ area in Ruiru, Kiambu County. No one was injured in the incident. About 15 vehicles that had been parked near the building were destroyed. Residents living near the building vacated their houses for fear that the buildings would collapse.
Kuna watu wamepata ajali. Kuna mtu mmoja ilikuwa amesamia ndani, lakini anajua hii ghorofa ilikuwa paki mbili, yuko juu ingine, yuko chini ingine. Huyu mtu alikuwa ameamushwa, ameenda paki ya chini. Ile ghorofa imeshaanguka, huyu mtu uko paki ya chini lakini hajaumia, hata sasa iko sawa. Tumetoka.
Nyumba imeboromoka. Nisikea pande huku nikatoroka. Nyumba ilipoanguka mimi nikatoroka.
90% of inmates and prison staff in Lamu, Tanarive and Kilifi counties have been vaccinated against COVID-19. However, vaccination activities are underway in some prisons in those counties, which are still between 60 to 70%. In Malindi prison, so far, more than 60% of inmates and staff have been vaccinated, and it is expected that by Friday this week, 100% will have been achieved. Statistics from the Ministry of Health in Kilifi County show that to date, a total of 2,317 cases of COVID-19 infection have been reported in prisons, that 315 of them are for prisoners while only 2 are for workers. Vaccination of prisoners and prison staff was officially launched 2 weeks ago by the Interior Ministry. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
All right, so it still continues on most of the roads in Nairobi this morning. This has been a mishmash of madness today, all from 6 o'clock. Even before that, Mombasa Road still continues. Folks have been on Mombasa Road now for a couple of hours, indeed, 2 hours and counting, trying to get from point A to point B. It's going to take a while. Folks coming out of Syokimau, for example, have not gotten to Cabanas over the last hour. And then after that, it's going to get a little bit stickier, guys, just to let you know. It's looking a little bit better on the Thika Superhighway. That survey traffic has reduced considerably. Kiambu Road, however, still continues to be quite packed as you get onto the Muthui Square. All right, we're still looking at traffic in that whole industrial area and coming out of Westlands as well. Shall we keep an eye on things? Let's look in half an hour and see how better it's gotten or if it's getting worse. Mombasa Road, guys, still thumping. Let's have a look. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127. We'll try to keep things moving.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation
7
Room.
minutes after 9, Kenya's biggest conversation. It continues into this hour. CT, what is today's proverb?
Kalyan tan negilichi kiptome tirin.
Kalyan tan negilichi kiptome.
Kalyan, that's one word. Tan is one word. Negilichi, another word. Kiptome, another word. Tirin. Yes. That troublesome cow is that on which compels the owner to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures.
I know what you're doing.
He's being onomatopoeic, isn't he?
A little more than that.
Okay. The troublesome cow is one that
compels the owner to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures.
Right. What is Jeff Daniels saying?
All right. He says, I believe in whatever Raila is promising. This guy does not just wake up and just say anything because he's a well-articulated man. The same people who rubbished him when he said NYS was being stolen in the case of the R2 brothers are now telling him that he can't. My prayer to Raila, if Ruto wins, please do not handshake like you did with Uhuru and let them learn from their mistakes again. Okay. Stephen says, we can have welfare funds or the bottom supporting the top if there are systems in place to ensure it's achieved. Unfortunately, they aren't so in as much as the promises may be good, they stand on hot air. The Duke of Kano says, you and I are strongly aware these are all rhetoric. The conversation could be, why have you not achieved what you promised earlier? Or what are the things you did when you were in the position of power? Then that will be an honest conversation. Before that, all of this is just, what did you do yesterday? Before that, it's just, bar talk.
Yeah.
Essentially. It's nothing else. It's just,
But there's something that City, you keep using this word duplicitous.
Yes.
We undo makuili as a people in this country. It's duplicitous.
I'm sorry?
We say one thing and then we behave in a completely different way.
Performing eye service.
All the people who, would sit back and say, what are these promises? I mean, what promises are these? Blah, 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 this and the other. Are the same people who are supporting the same political camps.
Indeed.
The question that we are asking, should we interrogate deeper? Should we do this and the other? When it comes to, rubber meeting the road, wherever these political leaders are, let's look at Raila. Raila was in Eldoret on Friday. Did you see the crowds?
Chief.
He was in Isiolo on Saturday. Did you see the crowds? Was it Saturday or yesterday? He is going to be in Meru today. Will you see the crowds? Those places that I've just mentioned, Ruto has been to the same places. Have you seen the crowds? He's been to the coast. Are you seeing the crowds and the people? And if you listen to those people, they are actually invested in what is happening. They're not just sitting there because, oh, you know, I hear the deputy president is here. I've come to see the whole color around the arrival of a dignitary. You know, the landing of a helicopter, the getting onto a vehicle, the security. No, they're actually there to take part in whatever is happening.
But I got to ask, okay, so you're saying it's not the theatrics, right? It's not just to see the drama because, you know, you can find that anywhere else. You know, just go to your village square, you'll find drama, right? So what is it? It's to see the psychophancy surrounding these individuals. What is it? Is it then really to lap up on these promises? Is it to hope to get something on the particular day? Is it to be within the vicinity of these individuals? I really, honestly am asking, what is it? Because like you say, all right, perhaps the conversation is duplicitous in nature because we say one thing here, promises means nothing. But if the man should step here right now, people are going to go mad, right?
Yep.
Whichever man it is that you're talking about.
Whenever you hear someone saying, what kind of promises, they're actually talking about the candidate they don't support.
Right. So the one that they support,
if somebody is a pro-Raila person, they are looking at Ruto and wondering, bottom what?
So you're not going to hold them up, obviously, but I guess by nature of competition,
but you
that's
believe
what it means.
That Raila can deliver. Whatever Raila is saying, that one is gospel.
So when we talk about these promises and the fact that they're unrealistic or they're not bankable, right? It is because it is coming from the one that you do not support.
Yes.
So the truth of the matter is that political society today, the one that you support, they actually then do believe that they will deliver these promises. The
it's
one
not
that
about
you
the promises.
or whatever it is that they're saying, you believe in the entire makeup of this individual.
Person.
You believe them.
If the person says we are going to the moon, that's what you're going to repeat. This guy is taking us to the moon.
If the person says, comes and stands on a platform and says, the sun is shining, it is what they have said that you will carry as truth.
Yes.
Right? So when we talk about one example then of political promises, they are not believable so long as they are coming from the individual that you do not support.
Yes.
So long as it is coming from the individual that you support, these things that we're talking about, realistic or bankable promises, they're realistic and they are bankable.
We are not interrogating.
No. It's not an interrogation.
I'm not interested in interrogation. As long as my guy has said this, that's it.
That is why
the other person needs to be questioned. You're saying bottom up. How can you bring the bottom all the way up?
That's why you'll be met with crickets when you ask then, you who is supporting this individual.
How are yours going to be realized?
How are they actually going to do it? Or what is it that they have done when they had the position before? So when you ask this question, you're met with crickets, or you're met with, and your person who is saying this, how are they going to do it? There's a reversal then in terms of psychology.
Yep.
So this is the thing that we're actually looking at now.
But look at the entrenchment of what we can refer to loosely as our political thought process, which we have accepted to be the norm. Our politics has never been about issues.
No, it hasn't.
Ever.
No.
Our politics has been about the people we, as separate and different communities, have accepted to be our chosen leaders.
Yes.
Now, and it's also about how we respond to that leadership. And on that rare occasion, how it is we respond to effectively ejecting that leadership. In this country, it also very much depends on how large your community is, because the large communities in this country have always represented the quest for the ultimate political leadership in the president. They represent it. So if you come from a smaller community, the aspirations that would lead you to that particular position are almost nil. However, with the advent of fixed terms for the presidency, it represented hope that, you know something, somebody else can get it beyond the big tribes. But if you look at our politics as it is right now, it is those leaders who represent these so-called very populous communities who seem to have a front row seat when it comes to gunning for these seats.
Yep.
Now, this, in my view, is where the problem lies. So long as there is a leader who has been accepted as the chosen one, nobody cares really what they do. Not really. Whether they are behind development projects, whether they have lovely economic policies, whether they have a delightful track record of bringing progress, as we call it, to their people, nobody really cares.
That's not it.
Nobody cares. He is the chosen leader, and we must support him because the ultimate quest is for this person to become president. That really is, in my mind, what pushes most such agendas. This debate about track record, track this, track the other, and then if you follow into that second tier of leadership who support this particular leader, that in fact gives you above 50% of the going rate for the possibility of retaining it.
Yes.
You already wind assisted. Now, the rest now depends on the politics of the region, the constituency, the ward, and what have you. But again, it has nothing to do with this logic that we often discuss here.
This logic is just a very academic discussion that is just being held in elite, closed doors.
Circles, right.
Right? And even the people who are discussing those things in those rooms, they get out of that room, they have their mind set. This is the person that I'm going to elect, not because I looked at their manifesto. How many people interrogated the manifesto of Jubilee or NASA in 2017? How many? How many people interrogated the Jubilee or CORD manifestos in 2013? How many? Not many. How many are interested in finding out exactly? It's just this. Raila has a beautiful catchphrase. I'm going to give 6,000 shillings. That's the one. We clap for that. You see, this one, it is something that is substantive.
Touch.
It is tangible.
You've already started calculating.
This other guy is only
6,000.
talking about building, mkokoteni, and wheelbarrows. This one is talking about 6,000 shillings.
Have you not budgeted that 6,000 shillings?
You can already see 6,000.
What
it can do for you.
You saw 2,000.
Yes.
There are people who've seen it. 6,000 is reasonable.
There's
Just 4,000
6,000
shillings more. It's
And
possible.
then even when I've finished it, there's another one coming.
Yes.
It's very nice, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is. When you most need it. When you're vulnerable, your sources of income have dried up. You see, when I talk about duplicity, it's this capacity we have for having alternate realities functioning within us at the same time. And they are all, when I say alternate, it's precisely that. There's what we say because we want to sound like we are balanced, reasonable people.
Yes.
Well, when you have an economic policy, and
You've got to tinge it like
no,
that.
you have to tinge it, you have to tilt your head to one side. Right. And we're thinking about the feasibility of this particular trajectory. And when we look at it and we amplify the objectives of this particular matter, okay?
And
It allows us to pivot and form the narrative.
Yes, exactly. And within an acceptable structure
Yes.
that we know.
Framework.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, now, that is us being logical, reasonable, and talking with people who understand all this nonsense that we're talking about. And even if you don't, just nod, okay? Then there's a reality. Who are we voting for this year?
Yes.
Then there's a that's question. Again, okay, how much is so-and-so giving?
End of story.
Does he have money? That's us.
Yes.
And we're talking about the same thing. But these are the various conversations depending on who we are talking to.
And the one that influences your decision is not that whole framework conversation you were having earlier. No.
So that explains why.
It is, I am what tribe am I? What tribe is this person?
Yes.
Bas, that's it.
First of all, yeah.
Now,
that's it.
That is why, you see, we're asking, so then how come people throng? How come people in Eldoret come out like that? Boom. How come people in Isiolo Coast? That's why. You can talk what you want to talk in your corner somewhere, whatever, right? At the end of the day, when the man comes,
You know, it's a combination of very many interesting factors. Number one, political leaders who've been in the political arena for some time are known factors. Remember, with every passing time and generation, there are people who've heard of these people, but I've never seen them. So when they come, now it's their turn to see them. They want to see, this person we hear of, okay? Then there are those who have a reputation for setting people free. Meaning, you come and who knows? Who knows? Some money may just
land in my hand.
So that possibility being a possibility which has elements of reality.
I'll write on it.
You present yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then there are these promises that are made because there's somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows this person who knows somebody.
Yes.
Okay? All this combination of factors and the entertainment factor that also comes. If you notice, many of these rallies also have music. They figured it out. Music will attract people. Forget who's coming. It's free music and you can hear it and you can even dance when you're standing.
Is there another way?
Yes, you can dance when you're sitting.
Okay.
Like I'm dancing now and I'm
Got
sitting.
it.
Okay?
Sure.
Just bobbing my head from side to side. That entertainment factor plays a huge role. Because you may not think so, but just politicians talking and saying the things they say, it's entertainment. So and so has done this. Yes. Do you think it is okay? No. Those who like this say yes. Yes.
Don't you like the music?
Yes.
He will do this.
Yes.
DJ,
yes.
DJ.
Eh? Now, see? I mean, it is fun.
Then the day is done, isn't it?
Done.
Yeah.
And so you wait for somebody else. Somebody
even
throws in. The smart guys will even bring a popular band or a popular musician.
Yes.
My friend, whom you've heard of and now live in person.
He is.
You know, for that day, your day has been active. It has been enjoyable.
Sure, and you've run away from whatever other drama you had going on, right?
Yes, and you're together with all these people.
Yes,
Telling you this.
yes.
It's a subject of conversation for at least the next week.
Sure, and here you are saying that you
nice feeling
Yes.
of being in that charged environment.
It's euphoric.
Zachary in Nakuru.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Zachary.
Why do all of you feel or sound invigorated?
Because it's a Monday.
It's Monday, Zachary. Ask us the same question on Friday and we'll give you a different answer.
Oh, can I tell you something about also Monday?
Tell us something about Monday, Zachary.
You know, these funny universities that they always say that a group of researchers did this and that.
Yes.
Are you ready to hear what they found out?
Zachary, we are very ready. Tell us.
They found out that.
Zachary, you're playing this like a politician.
Zachary is a politician.
No. I just want to invigorate you more.
Do you know what they said? Okay. Are you ready to hear what they said?
I know what they said.
Can I now tell you what they said? Zachary, just go ahead and tell us. What did they say?
Okay, they found out that the Mwalimu is a researcher. I think he is going to support me.
Okay.
Or support them. They found out that on Fridays, men withdraw more money. But then on the other hand, on Mondays, women bank more money. And they went ahead and found that they gave a number of proverbs, yeah? And the proverb that they went to be liked most by men or agreed with is this one that says that the shorter the monkey, the longer the tail. I don't know the truth of it, but I'm going to investigate, yeah? Now, this is my point. You are having a very good discussion today. And Mwalimu has repeated the same word that actually inspires me, duplicitous. Why do we have to buy duplicity in our dealings with the politicians? Yeah, especially those who are aspiring for high offices. Yeah, this is my take or my advice to everyone. Let's get those politicians one by one and question their real character. And let me tell you, Mr. Eric, yeah, and Mwalimu Ndu Okoh and our sister do. I do not, and I will never encourage anyone who comes and promises me free things. I'll ask him, I mean, are you negating God's promises or laws that one has to work? That's a point, yeah? There is also this American president who told his people, ask not what the government can do for you or is going to do for you. Ask what you are going to do for the government. And when we start from that corner, we are going to engage in a meaningful discussion, and we are going to pick a person who is going to do us good. But this person who is coming to tell me, I'll give you a wheelbarrow if you do this, I'll give you 6,000 shillings. That is hogwash, actually, if you allow me to use that word, yeah? Where I am going, right now I'm going somewhere. I'm going to talk business. I'm not going to ask for handouts. No. That, we are not beggars.
By the way, Zachary, if
Yeah.
I may just stop you for a while.
Sure.
A social support system for the elderly is not a handout.
Okay.
It's a basic right. People who are elderly, people who are vulnerable, need support. That, in my mind, isn't a handout. A handout is what you give would-be voters and people whom you think you're going to influence by giving 100 shillings. But somebody who actually needs it, somebody who has played his part in contributing to the economy and is now not in a position to support themselves, the government has every obligation to support them.
Let me tell you this, yeah?
Yes.
Our politicians have formed this habit of, and it is implanted in us. It has been planted in us that but when we see a politician, we see a brother of God who is able even to create manna from heaven, you know. And I told you there once came a politician, you know. And I normally tell you I come from Nakuru South. That one I never stopped reminding you, yeah. And then this guy talked to us, yeah, in a certain shopping center, and everybody was lining their pocket and trying to see where he's going to put now his work here. And then I raised my hand and asked the guy, can I offer you a soda? And I had engaged him in some very serious questions, okay? I asked him, can I offer you a soda? Because you are in our shopping center and you have come and you are now the visitor. I have got some few coins. Are you going to accept my soda? And everybody looked at me as if I've come from where?
You're the
from
crazy
doing
one.
the research that from doing the research that
Did
I've
he
done
accept
to-
your soda?
He did, of course, and he was very happy. So let me tell you this, yeah?
So how much did you make now out of that?
Me, myself. You're asking how much I made out of that, buy that soda.
After taking your soda, alirudisha mkono na ngapi?
No, I was not expecting anything. And let me tell you, but Eric, let me tell you this. Going by my character, or the way the much I stayed now calling you and talking about how we should make our country better, do you think I'm a person who can really do something in expecting a return, yeah? No. But today, I know I'm going to meet a certain young man, so many of them, and they are going to tell me, can you buy us right? Can you buy us tea? Why is this? And these people are energetic. Now, let me give you a scenario, Mr. Eric, before I conclude, yeah? They are asking because it is daylight, yeah? What if I encounter them after dusk? Do you think they are going to be that much courteous? No. They are definitely going to demand what I have. They call it change, let us change. You know? This is the point that I'm trying to make. From the MCA to the woman rep to the president to whoever who is reaching a political elected seat, yeah, let us vet them.
Okay.
And we should be decided that this one fits our description of a good reader, suitable. Let us take him in and tell him we do not expect any handouts from you, but we expect you to facilitate us to make our lives better. That's a reader.
That's it. Thank you very much.
And Mwalimu should think about that research and give us a report tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Assignment given. Thank you, Zachary. Abdi in Nairobi, good morning.
Morning. How are you guys?
Very well.
Morning.
The president said we are losing how much per day?
2 billion.
Not much, just a paltry 2 billion.
2 billion, right?
Give or take a few shillings, yes.
How many jobless youth are there?
Oh, give or take 4 million.
4 million.
4 million. Then do the math. I think the old man knows what he's doing. If you close the loophole, you can get that 6,000. Right?
Okay. How do you close the loophole?
Corruption.
How?
Stop losing 2 billion a day.
So how do you close the loophole?
Dealing with the guys, because the government knows the people who are eating. Yeah.
I think you've said it well. It's not as though we do not know where we're hemorrhaging from. and you cannot pinpoint the individuals who are involved, you can.
The right thing to do is you work with the agencies. They know. Give them the right. You know why Kibaki's government made all the progress? He gave the ministers the power. Don't interfere with them. Let them do their work. The results will come out.
Yeah.
So there is money in this country. Even just, I'm giving you an example. Go to where people apply for, it's called work permit. See how many Asians are there, how many white people are there. And they ask you, you're coming to get a passport. You want to go to Europe. You're coming here to look for money. You're going to Europe.
Yep.
I mean, there is money here.
The opportunities are there. Abdi, I think the question is the how. Everybody, this conversation about corruption, this has taken place for over 30 years in this country.
Yeah.
Nobody is ever able to demonstrate how they can slay the dragon of corruption.
You know why it doesn't work?
Mwai Kibaki appointed somebody who worked at Transparency International and brought him to State House to be the PS in charge of slaying the dragon of corruption. How much progress did we make? During Mwai Kibaki's tenure, we redid that whole commission. We moved it from Anti-Corruption Authority to Anti-Corruption Commission.
Eric, those commissions that are part of that loophole.
Bas.
Because, I'm serious. Because, listen, MPs sit. How many, in a week, they sit how many times? Let's say budget, on the budget issues and stuff.
Yep.
How much they get per hour? Why should you pay someone?
You see, Abdi,
and
the point I'm making is you are the one who is explaining what needs to be done, but the person who's seeking your vote is not telling you what they are going to do. That's the point I'm making. What they tell you today is what they told you last year. We are going to fight this, slay the dragon of corruption.
Kenyans, we love to hear that. there is a proverb in Somali that says, a sweet mouth is better. A sweet hand is better than a sweet mouth. You get? A sweet hand is better than
a sweet mouth.
Yeah. So our politicians are good on telling us. So that's sweet mouth.
Yeah.
Not sweet hand.
Not sweet hand.
Yeah.
No delivery.
So we need a leader that can give us a sweet hand.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you very much, Abdi. Asante sana.
Have a good day.
Good day. 27 minutes to 10. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. Let's take a break. Has the situation improved on Mombasa Road by any chance? If you're there and you're still stuck somewhere on Mombasa Road, please let us know on SpiceFM KE right now so we can alert everybody else. We're taking a break and then we'll take more of your calls. 0719 012 600.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
From 2019, she has stayed with 6 different people. We are saving money. There's no need for him to be renting in this side.
And I'm renting this side.
No. And sometimes this is an avenue for women to con men. Let me just be very honest with you people. Today we are talking about performing marriage duties while you're still dating. Why are you paying rent and this is not your wife? We need to start holding each other accountable. For those people who are dating, learn to buy your own bed.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution is rotten. It is based on ideals that cannot progress our country forward.
This is the Situation Room the only way to start your day.
All right, 19 degrees, mostly cloudy conditions in Nairobi, highs of 26 and lows of 15. Nakuru is sunny at 21, highs of 27 and lows of 16. 15 will be the low in Nyeri, where it's mostly sunny at 19, highs of 26. And in Eldoret, mostly cloudy conditions at 19, highs of 25 and lows of 14. In Mombasa, the light rain continues in certain parts, highs of 30 and lows of 24, while in Malindi, it's raining as well at 29, highs of 30 and lows of 25. Okay. In Kisumu, conditions are sunny at 24, highs of 29 and lows of 19, while in Kakamega, it's sunny at 24, highs of 29 and lows of 15. Kampala is sunny at 24, highs of 27 and lows of 19, while in Dar es Salaam, mostly sunny conditions at 28. Rule the skies, highs of 30 and lows of 23. Johannesburg is sunny at 18, cloudy, at 11, highs of 22 and lows of 10, while in Lagos, the rain continues at 24, highs of 31 and lows of 23. Kampala is sunny at 24. All right, let's look out into Beijing, where it's sunny at 18, highs of that and lows of 4. Paris is sunny at 5 degrees, highs of 18, and London is clear at 12, with highs of 17. We'll come back to lows of 12, and New York clear at 12, highs of 16 this Monday, and lows of 9.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM.
All right, looking a tad smidgen better on Mombasa Road today, but still a lot of traffic, and that's all the way now. We're looking at the SGR. We're looking at going past Cabanas and past the airport, moving slowly. And it looks like it's going to continue for some time. And North Airport Road also continues with a lot of traffic this morning. And we're looking at Old Mombasa Road, the ICD route, going towards the Southern Bypass, jam-packed still. So it looks like we're going to be spilling over traffic hour today. Jogo Road also getting out into the city, looking a lot better, especially going towards Landis. Around the Makadara train station, it was where it continues. Langata Road also thinning out in traffic. So that morning traffic is getting better now. Aerodrome Road, not as packed as it was, but as you get to Haile Selassie roundabout, that's where you'll find some traffic this morning. Okay, so dulling down in some parts, but still continuing on Mombasa Road. Let's keep an eye on things on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
22 minutes to 10. 0719-012-600. Ed is on the line. Good morning, Ed.
Morning, guys. How have you been?
We've been well. How are you?
I'm doing good, actually. I'm in Maua on my way to Meru.
Okay. Unaenda kwa mkutano ya baba?
Hapana, ninatoka Meru. Natoka Maua kwenda. Nilikuwa shughuli. Actually, the things I've noticed this morning.
Excuse baba.
No, my friend, let me tell you something, Eric.
Yes.
The things I've seen, there are even buses from Pwani University, others from Kretsa. Actually, they are pulling in crowds, these guys. But anyway, sorry for another.
Okay.
How have you been?
We're well.
City?
Yes, my brother, how are you this morning?
I'm doing very good, huh?
Yes.
All right.
Now,
so,
Eric,
Ed, what is going to determine how you vote this year? Is it the promises that you are hearing, interrogating them, or are you going to make a decision based on, who is closest to Mount Kenya?
I'm going to make a decision based on three things. Actually, I think I had posted something on Twitter regarding this, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I'm gonna vote. Whoever I'm gonna vote for is going to be based on three things. One, track record. 2, a manifesto. And not a manifesto that has been drawn by political strategists somewhere. A manifesto that is going to be realistic enough, that sounds and looks like it's not based on building castles in the air, but something that really relates to what is really going on. And that integrity or principle of that person.
What are you going to use to gauge them? You're saying track record, integrity, and manifesto. So what's your measuring tool?
Okay, one. If it is track record, okay, of course, when you come, you're going to tell me you were an MP here or you were doing this place, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the changes that you had effected then, so that I can trust you enough to give you the country. Yes.
Ed.
Yes?
Remember President Obama?
Yes, I do.
He was a first-term senator.
Yes?
First term.
He was first-term senator, yes.
Was he a senator or was he...
He was a first-term senator.
First-term senator.
Yes, he was a senator. Yes.
What track record did he have that convinced people that they could leave the country in his hands? And there are people who'd been at that job for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. Some had been governors. He had never been any of those.
Okay. I may not be deep into U.S. politics, but there is one thing. I don't think it's based much on his track record. It's based much on what people saw in him.
Yes.
You see that manifesto part of him? You see how realistic his campaign was? And I can assure you, Bona City, were it not for the fact that Constitution in America, dictates that you can only run for 2 terms, Obama could have gotten another. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Eric, before you go, there's a certain complaint that I have. I wish you guys could air it.
Okay.
There's this new thing that I'm seeing. Okay, it's been there, but I think personally as a driver, I'm tired of the fact that rollies are breaking down anywhere, and these guys are very ignorant. They are not placing, warning signs or something at least to alert you as a driver. Yes. I'm going to tell you, last week, there was an Almasi bottler's truck. And I was on my way to Nyeri, and just as I had, taken a corner, and it was an uphill terrain, there was the truck. Were it not that it was uphill, I was not on high speed, I would have rammed that truck from behind.
Yeah. That's very true. We see this in very many instances where vehicles just break on the road and they sit there and there's no warning at all.
Yes, I think there should be a law. I think
there
if only
is.
people could... Okay, if there is, then please, I'm going to ask fellow motorists, please kindly, let's install dash cams so that when these guys do something like that and, you ram them, you can sue them, because unless people take action, these guys are going to kill so many of us.
That's true. That's very true. Thank you very much, Ed.
Have a good one.
Lovely day. Karanja in Naivasha, good morning.
Good morning, Eric Latiff City.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, today I struggled a lot to get in.
Pole. Here you are now. Yaliondwele sipite.
Sure, Eliodore Pite. Haya, sasa. Now the issue of this theatrics, this celebration of capitalism and the platonism that we hear for these politicians, I think it is giving us empty promises. Are you there?
Yes.
You have kept very quiet. Okay, thank you. Now, I am saying this. There is no rocket science here. Somebody who addressed the issue of the common humanity, that person, I'll go and vote for him.
Okay.
The reason why I say this, somebody who will come up with an idea that a common humanity will get down to this high food cost that is in here. Can you remember? Can you know that right now, if you come to Naivasha, I'm not talking about a supermarket. One packet of Ungagano is costing 150. A packet of maybe I'm not talking about the supermarket. It's costing 120 shillings. Now, in 2002, I remember there was a coalition government, Serikali ya Nusu Mkate. They came, Kibaki and Raila before he said Kibaki Tosha, they were saying a packet of unga for 2 kg maize meal could have cost 20 shillings. Now, how comes the same rider is not addressing the same issue? Another thing is, somebody is just saying he's promising heaven to people of Mount Kenya.
Yes.
You know what, Eric? You cannot decide for a fellow Kikuyu. You cannot decide for any fellow Kikuyu, let me tell you. And the Kikuyu changes within a night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karanja. Have a good day. Amani, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Du. Good morning, CT.
Hey.
Good morning, Amani.
You know, you're the one that Zachary should have asked.
Hey, you are the one who is invigorated.
Okay. CT, I'm going to answer your question. Obama had an amazing track record as a community service worker in Chicago. He did that for many years. And he did a lot of those activities, like coordinating also with the Catholic Church in Chicago. So he had a massive track record for serving people. Does that answer your question, Sweetie?
Of course it does, but only partially.
Why partially?
Because the track record is not what got him elected.
How do you know?
Because one thing never gets anybody elected to that seat. It's a combination of many things.
Exactly. That could be one thing, one factor. Because he could go there and stand and say, I've served people. I've done it. I've made a difference in people's lives. And he did say those things. Yeah.
What you are right about, though, is that his service as a community mobilizer was very, very pivotal in very many things. And you see, it goes down, to the person Obama was. And when people talked about change, time, opportunity, serendipity, everything now working together, him being who he was, his background at that time, at that point in history, one could argue. But the thing you are right about is that, yes, he had a track record. He did.
I hear what you're saying, Amani, because also if you want to look at one of the big things about his administration was Obamacare, right? And this was healthcare. But this is what he started at the very beginning. He started this while he was a senator in Illinois. Now, you can imagine going to start something new with which you had no experience with whatsoever and you wanted it to carry the day. Like some of these conversations that we're having today. Oh, I want to have an economic revolution. I want to start giving people money. Something that you're not practicing today does not seem practical to be able to carry out in the future. One of the elements of success is that you've been able to do it before. So even if you're going to do it on a grander scale, you have experience in making it work previously.
Thank you. He made a difference to the people in Chicago over many years in all sorts of different areas of their lives. He made a transformative difference. So he knew already how to make transformative differences. All right. And he carried that into his presidency. So here in Kenya, any person who's claiming that they want to be president, they have to have a track record that shows that wherever they were, whatever it is they were doing, they were effective. Yeah. They met the objective. They changed the lives of the people. Even if you're a CEO of Safaricom, what did you do there? Did you make a difference? Was there a change that was impactful? So it doesn't have to be particularly politics per se, but wherever you were, you made such a transformative difference that nobody can argue the point. It's not hidden. It's not so subtle that it can't be seen.
But Amani, what the question we were raising here was, is that really a factor that impacts the selection that Kenyans have when it comes to electing their leaders?
In Kenya? Never.
In Kenya? Absolutely true, Eric. There's a question about that. And that's why you have to sensitize Kenyans. You guys, that's your responsibility. You have the air, you have the mics. Yeah, can you shout at the rooftops?
It is not for lack of awareness, Amani. It is not for illiteracy that we'd say Kenyans do not factor in all these things. No.
And it's not that they don't understand. They do.
They don't understand.
I'm not sure I understand clearly. Tell them very rudely and very clearly, you guys, stop being stupid, okay? Yeah, the punishment is not going to help you. Yes, may help his mother,
Wacheni
his
ujinga.
sister, and his auntie, and his wacheni ujinga. Tupu.
Finish.
We've just become stupid on air.
Imagine.
Tell them to apologize, but we have to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, because you're not listening, and you refuse to listen, so we're telling you again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm not
you.
here too.
Thank you,
So,
Amanda.
goodbye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Amanda.
Good day.
Washenzi sisi.
Jinga nyinyi. You know, constantly, that's what you're saying. John Joroge in Mombasa. Hello.
Good morning, Situation Room.
It's been a while, John. How are you?
Oh, fine, thank you, Angel.
Good.
No, I think the issue you're talking about.
There's an issue with your line, John. Are we on speakerphone?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So my point is this, yeah? My issue is that whatever the deputy president is saying that he will do is something he can do right now. Everything Raila Odinga is saying that he will do is something that he can do right now.
Yeah.
The issues we have right now, they are the issues we have been having since time immemorial. And there's no magic they'll apply when they get up there, but they can't apply now. So it's all about the same rhetoric here and now. Nothing more will change. Because if you say that you're going to give those people who fought for our freedom, some land and houses, yeah?
Yep.
What is it that you can do now that can make the same happen?
Let me ask you a question, John. If a leader was to bring about change, let's say, for instance, what would this change look like to you?
The change, yeah?
Yes.
We first of all have to go and realize that me and you, we are the government. And we have to know the rights we have as far as the government is concerned. For instance, we have people who represent us in Parliament. And they are the people who have made it possible for the price of fuel to be where it is today. But they are able to come back and lie to us that, I don't know how it happened. Listen to Duane what he's doing right now. He was there. And because of the laws and whatever they passed in there, it's the same reason EPRA was formed.
Yep.
And that's why you're having those high cost of living. And they know it. Yet they'll come here and just playing Urabaru again with our minds. And gullible us will agree with them again. We don't know our part. And they take advantage of that. That's what I think, because now for me, if you ask me right now, we are doomed. Unless we have a leader who will go there from his own goodwill, try to do right when he has the power.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John. Have a lovely day in Mombasa today.
Yes,
Asante sana. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. What's John Mwangi saying?
All right. Politicians in most cases bedeck their manifestos with lies. True leaders don't promise free things, but offer conducive business opportunities for people. But free things, I'm skeptical. The only leader who was true to himself, and may God continue blessing him, was former President Kibaki. He had a passion to steer this country to prosperity, and his ambitions to ascend to the highest institution were on how he could better lives of the common Mwananchi. Those are the politicians. I don't believe in them. Yeah, I said it.
Okay. When Moi Kibaki was campaigning to get re-elected in 2007, those things that you're saying now,
you think he didn't say them?
There's no politician who has not used these things.
He was making in fact, now Moi Kibaki was talking about how to revamp our economy. People would have asked him, boss, you were vice president for how many years?
And minister for finance for how long?
So what did you do?
Minister for finance, you could have argued, you see what he did with that when he was in the docket, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so since then, you were minister, you were vice president, you were minister for health, until the other day when you left government, you were a senior member of the cabinet.
What did you do?
At no point, since Kibaki joined cabinet,
you know, the guy never left until
92.
Yes, until he now was going to become president.
He left.
Yeah.
No. He was going to try to be president.
But as we see, he became president.
Until 90s.
Yes.
That's throughout.
That's a long time.
Track record. So what are these things that that's the same question would have been asked him. What are these things you're telling us?
And let's get granular. He came from Othaya, okay? Were the people of Othaya asking about the track record of the developments he had brought to Othaya? Roads, hospitals, just basic things.
What?
Yes, did it matter?
At that point, it was their person who was going for the highest seat in office.
So those,
by virtue of the fact that it was their person, all those other questions aside, our person in the presidency.
In fact, you dare ask such a question.
How dare you?
And do you really think, ask any of these leaders, any, Kalonzo, Dr. William Ruto, Mudavadi, do you hear people asking them questions about what they have done for their people directly?
Why?
Any.
Why?
Any.
Why would you be rude?
They are their people.
Why would you be rude? Governor Alfred Mutua, the other day released a statement talking about, the track record of Kalonzo Musyoka. And now it's about time that, have you seen the kind of backlash that it's receiving?
The words were thrown right back at him.
Right? No, don't bring us those issues. And now when you're talking about Kalonzo wants to be president, is when we ask him about the track record. Oh, what have you done for Ukambani? What did you do for Mwingi? What did you do? What? Is Kitui County one of the shining lights of Kenya? No.
You dare ask those questions.
Are you mad? You've only come up the road to your house and everything else.
Are there rivers that traverse Ukambani? Yes. Are there dams that are generating power in Ukambani? Yes.
Right now?
Is there water piped water to people's homes in Ukambani? No.
So what has that got to do with Kalonzo?
Yeah.
He's still the leader.
Why are you talking about why? Why are you linking Kalonzo to those things?
You don't have other better things to discuss.
Was Kalonzo the president?
After all.
When he was vice president. What do you mean? When he was vice president. So the thing is,
he was operating at the behest of the president at that point. So please don't give him responsibilities that were not his own.
Can you talk about a time? Had he been president, you can ask that, but he's never been president.
He's never been president.
Yes.
So you cannot hold him to that responsibility. Accountable for these things that you're asking to have been implemented. He was not the one in that position. How dare you? What's wrong with you?
No.
Had he been president, that's a totally different story. But he was not. So please. Let's not talk about those things.
Don't mix issues.
We are too enamored with the idea of our own person being the big man. And it's what takes center stage in our decision-making process. And everything else thereafter becomes a distant, not second, fourth, fifth going onwards.
Yes.
Backwards rather, not even onwards. So long as that is the reality, and so long as we can accept that this duplicitous way of looking at things is the way we look at our politics, then I think we are fine. But sorry, go ahead, please.
So these promises then?
Which promises? But they're
promises. When I come for a political rally, I have to say something.
Oh,
they have their role.
They're just bait.
No.
Bait now.
No. It's
as in, what?
Do
to rope people
I'm saying
in.
It's not just bait. No, people already roped in. You don't need to rope them in.
So I said, if the people are already there,
it's content.
It's content. It's part of the entertainment.
It's content.
Yes.
It's content.
Yeah, it's got to be in the papers. I mean, nini itako kwa gazeti leo? Kwa TV tukiona leo.
I mean, surely you've been talking about 6,000 shillings since the day it appeared.
Precisely. We talked about bottom up. We talked about wheelbarrows. It's content.
City, today's content.
The troublesome is the cow that compels the owner to follow it as it wanders in search of greener pastures. Yes.
Context.
Cow.
Context here. This is not a multiple choice situation. It is an option situation. There's cow wandering off. There's green pastures. Okay. There's owner. And then there's who do you place where?
Yes.
Should a cow not wander to look for greener pastures?
Surely.
If the owner
has not provided such pastures.
Precisely.
Exactly.
And even if the owner has provided such pastures, can the cow still not look for even greener pastures?
Yes. Right. Or tastier greener pastures.
And why do you feel that the owner is being compelled? Is it because he's the owner, or is it because the cow might wander into somebody else's compound?
And why do you fault the cow for doing something he was naturally inclined to do?
Have a lovely day, people. See you tomorrow.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
today meets with candidates willing to run for office through the UDA party in the upcoming general elections at the Wild Waters in Mombasa. The candidates who come from all coastal counties are attending the private meeting which is about to kick off. Among the issues that are expected to be discussed is how to continue to make the party stronger in the area. Ruto will later continue his campaign in Kilifi County before concluding his visit tomorrow in Lamu. Ruto visits to the coast region began on Thursday last week, where he visited Taita Taveta County before heading to Kwale, Kilifi and Mombasa County. ODM leader Raila Odinga has landed in Meru County for a series of meetings in the area. He started by giving interviews to the local media broadcasting in vernacular languages in the Mount Kenya East region. Raila recalled his work with retired President Mwai Kibaki as a sign of his ability to bring about change in the country, saying that the country's debt at the time wasn't much.
Na tuliposhika hatamu namna hii tulipata uchumi ambayo ilikuwa imesambaratika. Tulikuwa na deni ya nyingi zaidi wakati huo. Lakini tukasema na Kibaki ati hii ilikuwa ni ahadi. Ahadi ni nini? Ni deni. Na kuanzia mwaka wa January, February 2003 tulianza free primary education. Watu wamejaa shule zilijaa. Mpaka kulikuwa kuna madarasa ya wengine walikuwa nasoma kwa chini ya mti, lakini tukaanza